What day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
Wendy Bell Radio is live.
Hey, do you guys know what today is?
Hump day.
I know it is hump day. I have forgotten to say that in the past, and let's just make sure we're all on the same page. Hello. What's going on, everybody? Number 6 on the leaderboard yesterday. People are starting to pay attention, too. I love it. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being a part of this. How's everybody doing? What's happening?
What's happening?
What's happening?
What's happening?
No, literally, I want you to come in here and show me the refresh button. Would you please?
Yes.
I want to make sure that I'm not mental. I'm sure I am, but
Yes.
thank you. I like today's thumbnail very much. This is where my mind is today, and it's not us versus them the way I think a lot of people think. All right, sorry.
So go into that page. Oh. You haven't set it up differently than I do.
Oh, so when I say where, and you're like the refresh button, I'm like, where's
Well,
that?
I
Up
have-
where it says refresh. I'm like,
If you put it in a tab. Oh, you can't. Why is that?
oh. So user-friendly. We've had a little miscommunication with some of the processing
Oh,
and
wait, what's
formatting.
this?
Not it. I hit it twice.
Did it?
No, it did not. It did not back then.
I'm saying, did it?
It did now. Thank you very
when I hit
much.
the refresh button?
Okay, I hit the refresh button before. That's what it's called, because that's not what it says. What dick. Sometimes you just got to say what it is, you guys. It is what it is, right? All right, let me tell you something. I want to tell you about something that the wellness company is doing. And I love this whole idea of detoxing the spike proteins in our body. Look, even if you didn't get the vaccine, if somebody in your family did, your husband, your wife, your children, what have you, we've heard about shedding. We've heard about various ways in which this spike protein can kind of jump over to us and maybe affect our health. And it's like, and the people in your life, you're like, I want to get this spike protein out of your system. How do we do that? Where is that cleanse? Well, there is something. It's called the Ultimate Spike Detox. All right. And that's from the wellness company, twc.health. Promo code Wendy, twc.health/Wendy, promo code Wendy. You're going to get a nice percentage off. So nattokinase is this thing. It's a natural enzyme. It's been shown to dissolve up to 84% of the micro blood clots within 2 hours in vitro. And even at lower amounts, it still reduced the number of clots, the intensity of clot signal, and the overall clot size. And that's what we're doing. You're trying to get these things that can cause you to clot. And, we've heard a lot of people post-mortem saying, we're pulling out some stuff that we shouldn't be pulling out. This is to get it out, flush this stuff out of your system. twc.health. This is the wellness company's Ultimate Spike Detox. I like them. I trust them. I would believe them 100%, which is why we partner with them on this program, twc.health/Wendy. I remember sitting next to Dr. McCullough, and he was super bummed out because he did get the vaccine. And he's now got a gluten intolerance that absolutely ravages his intestines. His gut is like, ah! And I was like, oh, my man. He's like, I'm telling you what, a lot of the things that we create here, it's because we're experiencing issues ourselves. Anyway, so how are you guys? What's going on?
I think a lot of people have a gluten intolerance,
I
just
think
at
that's
different degrees
and
because of all the they've pumped into
ultra processed foods. It's all you hear about is that's the number one thing that has taken a healthy society and turned it on its head.
And it's amazing once you cut it, how different you feel within a week.
Bob and Chris have stopped drinking soda and eating the snacks, the Cheez-Its and the goldfish. And they're going for apples. They're eating apples now. I'm like, who are you people and what have you done with my children? Right? I like that stuff too. I like my bananas frozen and dipped in chocolate.
I like my pretzels with beer.
That's how I eat, right? Oh, Darius, are you a slacker? Do you not want to be one? Then rumble. Oh, Darius, he's cracking the whip on y'all. Thanks, Darius.
Ford Tractor 1949. Brock is Wendy's problem solver. Someone has to be.
I absolutely agree with that. 100% agree with that.
But it's all just stupid stuff. Like,
which is to somebody who's
frustrating.
stupid at this stuff, very beneficial. If you know what I mean. All right. Hi, guys. I love you. Detoxing is wonderful. Moogle says. All right. Is it Moogle or Moogie? Moogle? Moogle. Moogle 81. Do they have to congregate right outside the window?
Yeah, of course.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Hello, America. Greetings to all of you across the beautiful fruited plain, and welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program. Common sense, conservative values. I do not lie to you. I tell you where I get my headlines. I share with you my details. We give you all of the links, all of the access, all of the resources. And I encourage you to fact check us, right? Fact check me, because you're going to find out we're not deceiving you. We're just kind of providing you, I think, a very special look from 30,000 feet at the world today. And I got to say, it feels a little bleak sometimes, but it should not be. The theme of today's show, it is us versus them. And this is not about the traditional way you might think: Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, liberals. No, it's bigger than that. And we're going to dive into that here after the most important part of the program, wendybellradio.com. Follow along the live video stream. Thank you for being here and welcome home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. I think President Trump, for the entirety of this political life he has had, has been light years ahead of all of us. I joke, I say, I bet you he's a time traveler, right? I'm only kind of kidding, because it is uncanny how he seems to be in control, and he doesn't go up or down. He doesn't yell. He doesn't get upset. He's very steady, very based. But he's got a bigger view of what is going on further down the road. And if there's no other reason than that you voted for this man, then that is more important than all the other politico mumbo jumbo that's going on out there. We have a system of government that long ago our founding fathers created in a certain way. They'd come off of the heels of a monarchy. They didn't want to have a king. They wanted to be able to be represented if they were to be taxed, right? They said, hey, we will pay, but we got to have a voice. You can't rule us. That's not the way this fledgling experiment is going to go down. And they spent a lot of time, and they were well beyond their years crafting those documents that are the foundation of our constitutional republic. Now, you'll hear Democrats saying that democracy is what's at stake. You and I well know we do not live in a democracy. And the left pushing that repeatedly, banging that drum, always about, democracy this and democracy that. We live in an environment in which those people, the elected leaders who are supposed to be chosen by us, represent We the people. They're not some rogue nation that gets to make decisions unilaterally and then carve you out of it. And then what's even worse, right? They can't carve you out of it and then come back at you year after year and ask you to bend over and pay more because they can't get enough. I think most people, when they go to Congress, they're somewhat naive. They see something they want to do. There's a leadership position. Obviously, they feel they've got some kind of a role to play in it. And we're supposed to believe that we select them. But we know right now there are more than just a handful of people in Congress who we didn't elect. A system did. A broken system. A bureaucracy that covers its own ass, if you will, and never looks out for we the people. So when I say to you, it's us versus them, I'm a conservative mom. The us I look at is through conservative lenses, through common sense. I love America and I want what's best for my children and the people I love. That is my lens. You can be a Democrat and feel the same way. And Donald Trump is making a pledge to you. He is making a pitch to you if you are not a Trump fan. He is saying, I'm going to drop on you a series of video clips, evidence that I want you to pay attention to. These are not new clips. We've played them for you before. And I want you to pay close attention because in city after city, in state after state, things didn't add up. And they weren't supposed to. There was no way for them to. The coup, the heist, the theft, the greatest slap in the face of the collective we the people in our American history happened on November 3rd, 2020. Look, I can be butthurt that it was my candidate that got boned, but we all got the shaft. They allowed us to pay for, to be overtaxed and to be given stuff, actually, to be privy to the greatest theft, the COVID theft of our children and our grandchildren's future dollars. They told us it was for the greater good. It was never great and it was never for our good. We are in this collective together. You might not like me because you think I'm a Trumper. I am. You might not like me because I'm a MAGA extremist. Well, I got news for you. I am guilty as freaking charged and proud of it. Because when I say to you, I'm all about making America great again, because you know what that word means, America? It's all of us. It is us, 330 million-ish people versus 535. You mean to tell me that you are well past your elected leaders giving you the bird, sticking their finger in your eye? You're not tired of your taxes going up and yet never having anything to show for it? Are you not tired of candidates who promise you that they're one thing and then they go to Congress and become something totally different? Are you tired of them passing all of these stupid measures in the darkness of night when nobody had a chance to read them and then smugly smiling at your face and lying to you and telling you it's for the better of democracy? And Donald Trump is telling you there is a way out of that. And it's going to take work. It's going to take time. It's going to take effort. It's going to take a collectivism that blurs all of those silly boundaries that we think divide us. Because when you look at this as us, these United States of America, and them, the 535 bureaucratic schlubs who long ago stopped giving a rip about us, there is no way to lose. Absolutely none. That, my friends, is what I believe this president is going to start playing in more serious fashion and more frequently for you, so that it stumbles upon your news feed and you're forced to sit there and say, Why does this seem so phony baloney? How is it possible that 13 million people in Pennsylvania in 2022 voted by mail when the state only has 12.8 million? Are you telling me that every man, woman, and child, and an additional 250 that we don't know of, voted? Because that's what the numbers show us. Wake up. Do not be blurred by their hatred of one man. Realize that hatred of one man is because that's the dude who's going to open the zipper and show us what's really at stake. This is a big day in my household, and I've got my heart in my mouth right now. I've got a lot on my mind as I think about the fight we're in as a country. At the end of it, no matter how you vote, or how you look, or who you love, how much money you have, or your zip code, we all want the same things. It's time we start demanding them. And I will warn you in advance, coming up in this program, I'm going to make you angry. I'm going to tell you something about the people who stand there on Capitol Hill with their stupid lapel pins, and they tell you that they're on your side, that they're the fight for you, that they're all that they say they are. I'm going to tell you a little something about how hard these individuals work and what will be required for the Save America Act that will once and for all make the cheating freaking stop so that we, the people, can believe in our elections again to make it come to that vote. There's going to be some sacrifice, ladies and gentlemen. But the good news is it's not going to be on your shoulders. I think we've all paid enough of a price. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, on the heels of Harry Enton telling us Donald Trump's approval is so bad. I mean, like, there's no much lower. It's so bad. How low can you go, right? Well, now we got another one that's like, no, not really. He's doing quite well. Who do you believe? Well, listen to the people desperate to convince you of the narrative. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. About an hour to go. My son Jack has his interview for graduate school. These are the doorways that we watch our children walk to and remember our own, right? And I'd love to be able to tell the people in my life who I love, namely my children, when things don't go their way. Nobody wants somebody to be like, you'll get them next time, or whenever one door closes, a window opens, right? If somebody else says that, I'll punch them in the face. Whether or not you believe that, it's probably true. But right in the throes of disappointment, you don't want that. So I'm going to ask you very selfishly for a little bit of a prayer for Jack. Jack, I love you no matter what. Proud of you. I believe in you. Good luck, son. Okay. Let's talk. By the way, I like gold. You guys know that? I want to share something with you that is absolutely extraordinary. It is a 1 ounce American gold buffalo. It is made in complete 24 karat gold. It contains 0.9999 pure gold in magnificent condition. Look at this. This is the James Earl Fraser's American Indian profile design. It was first seen on the 1913 Buffalo nickel. And on this side, this is an American bison that was taken, this picture, this drawing, taken from the Buffalo nickel. The image depicts Black Diamond, a buffalo that lived in the Central Park Zoo in the early 20th century. This is a 2023 coin. Limited numbers of these. These were very interesting. American gold buffalo coins were introduced by the U.S. Mint in 2006, and they marked a momentous occasion. For the first time in the history of the mint, an American coin was struck using this pure 24 karat gold. No previous circulation gold coin had ever been issued with 24 karats. This is what I got from Texas Bullion Exchange. WendyLovesGold.com. Right now, value about $5,100. When I bought it, not that much. price keeps going up. Value keeps going up. WendyLovesGold.com. That's what it looks like. WendyLovesGold.com. 855-927-5557. It is literally a work of art in the palm of your hand. And if you've got $103,000 to spend, you can get 20 of them. There you go. How about that? WendyLovesGold.com. I love me my Texas Bullion Exchange. Okay? Just going to say.
Coming injured
handicapped.
Tomorrow. Yeah.
I'll be a little
down
handicapped.
The stairs on the way out.
Oh, and I've got a testimonial on Ghost Bed.
From Jack?
Oh, yeah. And me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I really don't trust polls. I really don't trust pollsters. I think that their questions are commonly misleading. I believe most people have inherent biases. I sure as hell do. Why would I think a pollster wouldn't? And I think that we have to look at them kind of, with a kid glove, kind of gingerly, and look at them as trends, more interesting than, I don't know, definitive. Well, this one from the Morning Consult, a poll taken a couple days ago, it says rank Republicans versus Democrats on issues. And I was thinking about it's us versus them today. Well, if you were to look at your Republicans and your Democrats, who do you trust more to handle the following things? National security. And that's a no-brainer. I mean, wide open borders and all that jazz, what Trump is doing. It's Republicans by 10. Republicans are trusted by 10 over Democrats. Immigration. I'm glad to see this is finally leveled off. It's Republicans by 8. No duh, right? Open borders versus let's get everybody out. The national debt. Who's adding more to it? Well, we both do. Who's actually got a plan to try to carve it down? Republicans by 5. How about trade? The voters apparently trust Republicans by 5. Taxes, Republicans by 5. Foreign policy, Republicans by 4. The economy, it's ridiculous. It should be way higher. Republicans by 1. And energy, this is the only thing where Republicans and Democrats come in as a tie. The only 4 issues that Democrats outperform Republicans in terms of who do you trust more? Medicare. Which is preposterous, right? Stealing from Medicare, maybe. That's Democrats by 12. Healthcare, again, preposterous. Obamacare, really? Democrats are more trusted than Republicans by 13. Abortion, y'all can have it, all right? Democrats more trusted by 15. And the whole LGBTQIA plus alphabet, Democrats trusted by 25. Okay, so what? All of the important metrics, I think. The things that we, the people, regardless of political party, need to get behind. Those are represented: national security, immigration, national debt, trade, taxes, foreign policy, and the economy. Which brings me to what I believe is the most powerful audio of today. So there was something that happened, I believe it was yesterday. There was a GOP lawyers conference. And at this lawyers conference, I don't know the details of where it was, who went, blah, blah, blah. C-SPAN was there. Must-see TV. And they had a camera on Tom Homan. And he was getting up talking about the various surges of federal law enforcement in our cities, where far too many criminals and criminal illegal aliens have taken over and have terrorized American citizens. Tom Homan got up and he said something off the cuff from the heart with tears in his eyes that represents why I vote the way I do. I don't hear Democrats speaking about things like this. They tell you they're about compassion and about humanity and about kindness and about joy. But they're not. They don't care about the kids that are missing. And until we write that, until we find these children, who are we? Here's Tom Homan.
Out now. We're showing up at parking lots, vacant homes, But we're not going to give up to every one of these kids are found. So we just found one 2 days ago, an example, 14-year-old little girl living with 2 adult males who trafficked her, and we found her she's pregnant from trafficking, being forced into prostitution. 14 years old. So we're taking care of her, both physically and mentally. Despite what the media says, we're not heartless. We care about these kids. I'm a father. And the reason I'm so emotional and so headstrong on this issue, because I've dealt with dying children throughout my career. I've held dying children. I've held dead children. I talked to little girls as young as 9 that were raped multiple times by the criminal cartels. I'll never forget it. When you get on your knees to talk to a 9-year-old little girl, everything innocent and pure is ripped from her, and she don't believe in humanity anymore because you had a bunch of animals crawling on her and taking everything pure from her. You'll never forget it. And that's happening every day through this trafficking, and we're going to put an end to it. Everything we can do.
See, that's not a script. Those aren't a PR firm's talking points. Those weren't tested, in focus groups. That's a man who cares. I voted for that. I voted for that. Meantime, in Minneapolis, while Tom Homan and those federal agents were finding 3,324 missing unaccompanied children who came into this country under Joe Biden. The Democrats on Michigan's, or Minneapolis's rather, city council were threatening to take away the liquor license of 2 hotels that provided those federal agents beds and comfort. That is the choice. That is where we are. So all the polls in the world can tell me that this president and this administration are rock bottom polling. I will never believe it. Because nobody on the left says those things. Nobody on the left looks you in the eye and tells you, I care about you. Nobody on the left says, take my hand. Let's make it better. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, no wonder nothing really ever gets accomplished in Congress. This is the part I was alluding to in the monologue. It's going to piss you off. Made me angry. Like I work 250 days a year. What about you guys? Right? That's the normal 50 weeks usually, something like that. 250 days a year. When I tell you what they don't do in the Senate, and now they're hemming and hawing about having to maybe put in some extra time to pass this SAVE Act. Are you kidding me? Oh my. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Wow. So this ghost bed comes and we put it up and I don't look at it for a couple hours. And it's got this very nice, how something that comes wrapped up in like shrink wrap and you puncture the plastic around it and it goes and it opens up before your very eyes. How something like that can then unfurl, firm up, and get a little layer of squish at the top is, I have no idea. I have no idea, but it is so comfortable. It's firm, but it's not hard, and it's soft without being squishy. I don't know why. I guess that's why it's called a hybrid. And that's what I have. They sent me a hybrid. So I want to tell you more about my ghost bed. I sat in it yesterday. Jack slept in it. And normally he wakes up and he's got aches and pains and what have you. I guess we all kind of compensate with how we sleep. but it's in my son Jack's room. It's actually Michael's bed when he comes home from where he lives to visit. This is going to be his bed. So I'm obviously not sleeping in it in Jack's room, but Jack did last night and the night before. And he's like, that's a vast improvement from the one that we've had before. That's a great mattress. I sat on it yesterday searching, doom scrolling Twitter to try to come up where I stumbled upon Hillary Clinton, who I'll drop on you later. I'm sorry. But I sat on it and I was like, and then I kind of put everything aside and snuggled down and just closed my eyes and did one of these. You guys, they are fantastic. Not as expensive as some of those Uber, like give us your plasma and your firstborn child mattresses. This is within your realm. And they're going to give you an extra 10% off. I know I'm supposed to say actual stuff they want me to say. I just wanted to tell you, I'm geeked about it. The whole process is easy. You don't break the bank, but you do pay for quality. And the guy who made this, the guy behind the company, American Made, has back problems. And he's like, I can't find a mattress. Who better to create a mattress than a guy who has a miserable time getting a good night's sleep? Bing, 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 right? 101 nights. Sleep on it for 101 nights. And if you do not like it, round it up, they'll take it back. Okay? That's the deal. Ghostbed.com/Wendy. Ghostbed.com/Wendy. You're going to get right now the lowest prices of the season, plus 10% off by using my name, Wendy. That's going to cover shipping. That's going to cover a good part of the taxes. You're going to like that, right? Ghostbed.com/Wendy. Promo code Wendy. I'm super excited.
I'm going to have to try to talk my brother and sister-in-law into
a ghost bed.
A ghost
so
bed.
when you visit, you have a bed there that's like a glorified camping mattress, right?
When I go there, that's not even glorified. It's like this thin.
Tom and Jolene, really,
Yeah.
you should do better. That's very disappointing. Do better, Tom and Jolene.
Let's put it this way. I look at the dog's bed and be like, ooh.
Aw, that's mean.
That looks like it's more comfortable.
I love it. I'm really impressed by this, though. You know, it's fascinating when something has the technology so that it's movable, but it's solid. Like once it opens up and it does its thing, Brock, it is super neat. Like I want you to come over and flop down on it. I want you to come over and flop down on it and hang out for a few minutes. I'll even give you a beer. Even that might be a little creepy.
And to
come up to Mike and Jack's room and lie on this bed.
To Jolene, am I lying?
Is she chirping?
Yes.
Oh, it's, defensive is a bad color on everybody, Jolene.
It's
invite. See, yes, Viper picked up on it. I said you can come over. We're getting haircuts tomorrow. Haircuts, and I get to be chemically dependent. It's time. Oh, look at that.
It's
anyway, it's ridiculous.
It is not optimal sleeping.
No. Do you want my inflatable mat? Do you want my mattress that you just plug it into the wall and it blows it up and it's nice? Do you want to come over tomorrow, try this mattress, have a beer?
Oh, so I like the mattress and I'd be like, now what am I going to do?
Well, no, I'm going to give you an option that's not the dog bed.
No, I'm going to lay on this ghost bed and I'm going to love it.
You are going to love it.
Right?
Well, see, if people buy a couple of them, right? Right?
Are we going to start a fund?
Maybe you're a small business owner and you own a little motel or hotel and you're like, honey, we've needed to replace these mattresses for a while. There you go. There's like 20 right there for you. See, now you're talking. And now,
or if you have a brother-in-law who comes and visits frequently enough, and you want to get a bed that's comfortable for him to enjoy his stay.
Now, wait, Kate usually works when you go visit your brother and sister-in-law.
Yeah.
What if she was with you? Where would she sleep?
Probably the dog bed.
Wow,
it's
they're
that
really
uncomfortable. Yeah, she'd be like, "I'm gonna hit the dog bed."
Oh, can I have some towels? I'm gonna lie on these on the floor.
Right. I'm gonna sleep on the granite countertops with just a
right. Hey, CrescentMountainCoffee.com. Don't forget our coffee. Really, it's so delicious. It is so delicious. The Patriot blend, the Shizzle blend for cold brew. It is literally, I'm not kidding, the best coffee I've had. The best coffee. And I can tell when we're not drinking it because somebody made it.
Oh, we're going to be mad about this, you said. So
Mm.
that only leaves one thing.
Well, welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. I hope you guys are having a great day today. So we started doing, Brock, would you send me that article you sent me this morning regarding that one area they want to tap into the pensions and whatnot? Remember, was that Washington State? I forget which one it was.
Yeah, it was Washington
If you
State.
shoot that to me, I think I want to chat about that in this section of the program. All right. I didn't block a lot in this half hour because I kind of want to tap into what your thoughts are on this. I've been baffled. And quite frankly, I've been disturbed by the level of mental acumen out there among our leaders. So I listened to these election integrity hearings, right? Back in 2020, end of 2020, into 2021, Rudy Giuliani, which made him persona non grata, and for a while, public enemy number one. I mean, what did they do to him? They tried to bankrupt the guy, try to destroy his reputation, mock him, basically fly him up the flagpole in ridicule because Rudy knew what you and I knew and paid attention to on that November night in 2020. And whatever your feeling was when you woke up, if you were a Democrat, you were incredulous because you didn't think there was a chance in the world that a guy in his late 70s who was really kind of a vacuous zero vice president, who kind of talked like a tough guy, but was, quite frankly, I don't know, maybe a mental midget of sorts, that you would think that 81 million people would galvanize around this guy who never campaigned during COVID. It just doesn't add up. So you woke up and it was like, not on my bingo card. I'm glad because I hate Donald Trump for whatever reason. But that was totally weird, right? And now you could bury that and put that aside and just proceed with your life. Those of us who are on the other side, we didn't figure there was a way in the world that Joe Biden was going to touch Donald Trump. I mean, the guy had already done so much. That's why the knives were out. He had already gone through the impeachment process twice, so you knew he was over the mark. There was no way. You had unemployment for women, for blacks, for Hispanics, right? At historic lows. You had the economy churning again. You had investment happening again. The president was keenly aware of the challenges of immigration. He was keenly aware of the challenges of Europe, a weak Europe. The guy was on track to do things that you and I voted for, that we cared about, that mattered to us. And then all of a sudden we went to bed and in some point in the middle of the night, everything switched. And it wasn't just a rando switch. It wasn't just like a missing decimal point. It was like numbers got flipped on television screens and votes for him got taken away. Like in what election in your life have you ever seen numbers go down? They can only go up, and yet they went down. And not just where I live, Allegheny County, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but in Arizona and in Nevada and North Carolina and Georgia. It happened in Michigan. It happened in Wisconsin. And you and I were left to believe, obviously, something very serious happened. We got gypped. Somebody stole it. And when we started asking questions, well, the knives came out. The media got their marching orders. It became the big lie. And anybody who whispered a word that was anything other than 100% agreement with the left, that by all means Joe Biden won, and any other discussion is completely unacceptable. Not only unacceptable, we'll censor your ass. We'll silence your voice. We will go after you. We will ruin your life. We will take away your job. We will harass you by calling your boss. we will hunt you down and we will make your life an absolute nightmare. And then we'll put it on TV as a warning to everybody else. You probably don't want to do that. But there were some people who pushed forward. Mike Lindell, Christina Bobb, right? Think about her. And Rudy continued. So what we have is this unfinished business, and it's serious business. The left will tell you, no, it was the safest, most secure ever. We will say, we're going to produce some evidence that you'll have to wrestle with. Because as I did this morning, looking at all of the results for when Josh Shapiro allegedly became the governor of Pennsylvania, the guy got 10 million mail-in votes. How's that possible? In a state that only has 12.8 million people, how did he get 10 million mail-in votes? There aren't 10 million registered voters. And then when you add up all the votes for all the other candidates, it was like 13.5 million. See, when you are presented with evidence such as that, and I believe that's what's about to totally flood your inbox and your social media feeds, how are you going to walk away? Because that's what the president is going to do. And then he's going to say, now, if you believe that something is woefully wrong, and take him out of it, but that your elections aren't being decided by you, what are you going to do about it? That's called us versus them. And the them is all of the members of Congress and the U.S. Senate who need you to be quiet, overtaxed, and highly vaccinated so that you don't pay attention to what they're doing. I want you to hear Senator Mike Lee. So where is this SAVE Act? Where is this Save America Act? We've got the majority of people, all walks of life, Democrats, independents, Republicans, black people, white people, Hispanic people, all kinds of people. And they're like, you know what? I'm all about proving that you're from this country, proving that you are who you are. Yes, 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 yes. Why are we not voting on that? Well, the president is going to make the case. You need to put pressure on everybody, as do I, to force the people who don't freaking work in the Senate to work. Did you know that the U.S. senators work an average of 165 days a year? The average 2-week off a year full-time worker works 250 days a year. 66% more than your United States Senate. In fact, in 2024, those clowns only worked 102 days. So I'm going to say they need to get their butts in their seats and do what we, the people, ask. After all, it is a constitutional republic, is it not? Here's Senator Mike Lee. He says, look, we can do this, and you need to play a role. Listen.
Remember last week when I warned that the swamp doesn't like the talking filibuster, doesn't want us using it to pass the Save America Act, and there would be all kinds of ridiculous arguments coming out of the woodwork against it? It's happening. Just watch for it. A lot of these come from people who suddenly find themselves becoming self-proclaimed experts on the Senate rules. They don't know what they're talking about. Other times it comes from people who should know better, but aren't accurately reflecting what the Senate rules say or what history tells us about the talking filibuster. Let's remember, this worked to get the votes necessary to bring about cloture to pass the Civil Rights Act of 1964. It can work again. It does require work. It requires us to stay in the same legislative day and on the same legislative matter for days, potentially weeks on end. We've got to be willing to do this. Look, our election security requires nothing less. So if you feel as strongly as I do about this, make sure your senators know. And make sure when you see people saying stuff about the talking filibuster, that it won't work, that it'll take too much time, these are not good arguments. As far as the amount of time that it takes, we're not in a good position for anyone in the Senate or talking about the Senate to say that there's simply not time to enforce the talking filibuster to pass the Save America Act. This is absurd. The Senate's in a week-long recess right now. We let the Democrats go into recess right after they defunded and shut down funding for the Department of Homeland Security so they could go to the Munich Security Conference. We've got a lot of recesses planned. We could be and should be working through weekends, breaking through recesses. There is plenty of time if we will simply commit ourselves to it. So if you feel about this the way I do, make your views known.
That's exactly what he's saying. These idiots have to stay in their Senate chamber. They have to stay in town. They have to stay on the floor, and they have to talk through a talking filibuster until it stops. And then they vote, and then the majority rules. That's the way it's going to go. Now, there are 82 days, weekdays to go before the midterm elections. 82. Do you guys want to know how many days off the Senate has? How many days do you guys have off between now and November? Maybe you get a week in the summertime, do something fun with your family. Maybe you have 2 weeks if you're extraordinarily fortunate. Let me tell you about the days coming up that the Senate doesn't have to be in session because they're off. And a talking filibuster would require that they be on, that they be in session. And they'll be like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. How about this? They're off from March 30th to April 10th. It's 10 whole weekdays. They're off May 4th through the 8th, 5 weekdays. May 25th through the 29th, another 5 weekdays. They're off Juneteenth, of course. They're off June 29th through July 10th. That's 10 days. How about a little summertime break? Little breaky for you. How about August 10th through September 11th? That's 25 days. Have you ever had 3 weeks off in your life unless you got hit by a car and were in traction in the hospital? Then there's September 21st and October 5th all the way through November 6th. 25 days. They have, 80 odd days? Scheduled off before midterms. How about we force them to show up and do their damn jobs? How about that? Because they're going to tell you, no, it's not going to happen. There's no way. They're used to being in charge. But it is us, America, and them, those who work for America. Don't you think they should figure that out? I got to ask you, which senators do you think missed the most votes in the exhausting record year last year? When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, why aren't our senators showing up the scant few days a year they actually are supposed to? Why are they missing so many damn votes? Let's go there next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. They have 82. I misspoke earlier. They have not 82 more weekdays before the midterms. They have 82 more weekdays off before the midterms. Let's see, 10.
I had 3.
It was only a matter of time, you guys. I'm sorry. Shucks. Let's see, that's 10, 20, 30, 82. They have 82 days off between now, and they're off now. Right. And I'm not factoring now into that. 82 days off between now and freaking Thanksgiving.
Here's the kicker. If you're doing what you said you're going to do, what you got elected for, why do you need, does Tim Burchett need to really campaign? No, because he does what he said he's going to do. Campaign for what? Oh,
because you're weak. You're weak.
Yeah.
You might not have really been elected in the first place. Right. I'm going to tell you, Brock, read that email. I want to hit something here, okay? This is what we say. This is a star viewer, listener. This email we got regarding Chuck juice, which is what Brock used to drink.
It says, hey, Brock, I still drink Chuck juice too. I alternate every other day with Field of Greens to get all my nutrition in.
So
Came
good.
home yesterday to my auto ship order of Healthy Cell. I get the joint formula and the cardiovascular health. I also drink Dr. Gundry's MTC Wellness. Like Wendy says, it's delicious, and I know it has good things for me. Why drink water when you can empower yourself with these drinks?
100%. So let's talk about the first one. What was the first one he said?
Alternates Chuck juice with Field of Greens.
Yeah, but after that.
Healthy Cell. gets the Healthy Cell and Dr. Gundry's MCT Wellness?
So Healthy Cell, the things that we like about, we're not going to get any more supplement companies. I have a lot of people who reach out to me all the time, and I think we've reached our full, on all the supplements. They're important though, and the ones that we promote, I think are valuable. The thing I like about Healthy Cell is this microgel formula, which gets all of these nutraceuticals, adaptogens, things that occur in nature that doctors can create by using ingredients that are good for you. You can do wonderful things to your body that don't involve a prescription pad or you becoming dependent or needing a copay, right? This is called healthycell.com/Wendy. Healthy Cell has all these varieties. The Focus and Recall I take every day. The REM Sleep Rock takes very commonly. Those are just 2 of maybe 15 different formulations. They handle blood pressure, blood sugar, blood circulation. They handle your hair and your skin and your nails, your vision, your mood, your anxiety, your bone strength, all your joints and mobility. All of these are Healthy Cell formulations, and they come in a microgel, which is 165% more absorbed into your body than a pill, and it gets down to that cellular level to do what needs to be done. These do not break the bank. I'm telling you, this is not like, wow. You're like, okay. Healthycell.com/Wendy. And for those of you who've already tried it, thank you. For those of you who subscribe like we do, thank you. We believe in this company very much. So your flag only lasted a day.
Yeah. But I'm glad I hooked it so it didn't hit the floor.
Yes. Well, you know what? I appreciate that as well. I wasn't thinking about that. That's correct.
I got to figure out a way to hang it.
Yeah. Right?
We'll figure it out. I'll get my best people on it.
Absolutely.
I don't have people.
Yeah, you do. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. So right now, as the Senate is not in session, right? I'm not even counting now when they're off. Beginning in March, from now until the midterms in November. The Senate has 82 days off. I'm not talking about weekends. 82 weekdays. Why? What do you people do besides nothing terribly effectively? You mean to tell me that we can't get you people into a room to do what needs to be done? The Democrats can't have the SAVE Act pass because that carves out their ability to cheat. We all know this. What's the Republicans' excuse? Unless the Republicans also are worried because they need to cheat. Us versus them. Which senators missed the most votes last year? 659 roll call votes in 2025, all right? In the 17 days that these people worked. I don't mean to be disparaging, but I do mean to be disparaging. Do better, Senate. Who missed the most? Ruben Gallego, the Democrat senator from Arizona. Okay, he missed 95 votes. You're missing 20% of the votes. What are you doing? Oh, campaigning. For re-election, really? Tom Tillis, where you been, dude? Not voting, missed 77. Bernie Sanders missed 58. Tammy Duckworth, 57. Mitch McConnell, the statue, right? If he's even still alive, 55. John Ossoff, 50. I mean, what the hell? What are you people doing? Now, as we talk about that and chew on that, put that in the back of your mouth. I'm going to give you a new flavor. It's not good. It tastes like Zoran Mamdani, right? The communist. What does he want to do? Oh, well, his pie in the sky objectives. That's going to raise New York City's already monstrous budget by $11 billion. What? Oh, well, we've got big plans. You can't give things away for free if you don't charge people for them first, right? I mean, because that's the whole thing. This is absolutely ridiculous. Zoran Mamdani yesterday announced a record $127 billion budget proposal Tuesday. And I want you to hear what he says. He's like, look, We're going to do this stuff. It's super important because I inherited, right? I inherited a mess, right? I inherited $11 billion of caviar dreams that I'm going to have you bend over and pay for. So we can either completely tax the rich and destroy all these corporations and go after them, or I'm going to have to jack up your property taxes by 10%. Everybody. What? This is how this was sold. Ready?
For those who have watched budget after budget, it is tempting to assume that we are engaging in the same dance as our predecessors. Let me assure you, nothing about this is typical. That's why our solutions won't be either. There are two paths to bridge this gap. The first is the most sustainable and the fairest path. This is the path of ending the drain on our city and raising taxes on the richest New Yorkers and the most profitable corporations. The onus for resolving this crisis should not be placed on the backs of working and middle-class New Yorkers. If we do not fix this structural imbalance and do not heed the calls of New Yorkers to raise taxes on the wealthy, this crisis will not disappear. It will simply return, year after year, forcing harder and harsher choices each time. And if we do not go down the first path, the city will be forced down a second, more harmful path. Faced with no other choice, the city would have to exercise the only revenue lever fully within our own control. We would have to raise property taxes.
And we would have to raise them an eye-popping amount. The socialist city leaders' plan includes a whopping 9.5% property tax hike on New Yorkers. I mean, that's only a fraction of the 33% property tax hike that we got in our county when the morons allowed a socialist to either cheat to get elected or somehow get elected. So that's fun, right? 9.5% to do what? Well, we've got free transportation to dole out. That's going to cost about $10 billion, right? We're going to have free daycare, free pre-K, free all that stuff. We're going to give away the sky to all of the people. The only way for us to right this wrong, which is a chasm between the uber wealthy and those who are not, is to take away from the uber wealthy and give to those who are not, because historically that always works beautifully. We warned about this, right? We said this about Virginia. We were like, Abigail Spanberger is not a moderate. You guys are going to get crushed. 50 new taxes later, and a Potomac River that's swimming in fecal matter, and the water is still running. Really? Are you pleased with your vote? Mamdani unveiled his preliminary budget from the Blue Room at New York City Hall this afternoon. This was yesterday. And he's declared the property taxes will require that hike in case, he's also going to drain the city's rainy day fund by $1 billion. That's awesome. Why do they never say, we're going to do an audit and we're going to cut our size of government by 50%? We're going to start hiring people who are really productive instead of those who just collect a paycheck but do nothing and drain the system. Why is it that they never do that? Why is there never ever an internal introspective look at, my God, honey, we've blown the budget and it's February. Why does that never happen? It's always, we need to tax the rich. And it's because of this gross inequity. Don't you think they need to pay their fair share? Tax the rich. It's rinse and repeat. Us versus them. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, journalist John Solomon, he makes a very interesting prediction, and he did this on Dan Bongino's show yesterday. I'm going to steal it and play it next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
What they fail to tell people when they vote for a Mamdani is you're going to need free buses and free childcare because you're not going to be able to afford it. Either way.
Think about that ridiculosity. Think about that. And it's never any good news. Economic news on a Democrat is never good. It's never like, you're going to pay less. We're going to carve out this mumbo jumbo regulation. We're going to get rid of all this red tape. They just keep regulating and putting rules and waving their magic wands and thinking, well, Who are you? You're not going to rise up and say no. Look at what we've gotten away with so far. It's going to take a freaking farmer protest. It's going to take a freaking trucker protest. It's going to take something like that where floods of people go to the Capitol and say, I don't think so.
Well, you could, prime example. So you've had work done on your house. How much of a percentage of the final bill is just to get permits? 5%, 6%, just for permit paperwork for the government to say, yeah, you can go ahead and do that. Meanwhile, you got somebody there with a pension, with a job that's just going.
What are we doing? Nothing well. How long are we going to accept this? With a Senate that doesn't effing work. They don't effing work.
Did you see the Kevin O'Leary say that he's going to, on CNN, give Zohran Mandabi in about 2 years real estate agent of the year for Florida?
Yeah.
It's true.
Who's going to stay there? Who's going to stay there? For what? Because it's such a swell place to be? Because of feces that are all over the sidewalks? Did you guys see that?
Oh, gosh. How did they get away with it in Florida with no
income tax?
Income tax.
I don't know. The Disc Institute of Pittsburgh, I've heard success stories. I've heard success stories about doctors in the past. I haven't heard success stories quite like these. And it's people who literally have come to the Disc Institute of Pittsburgh from all over the country. This is like their final shot before they go through some pretty gnarly back surgery. I mean, the idea of someone with a knife cutting into my back that's too much. And so Dr. Rafferty is that final hope zone where you land and he looks at your MRI and he talks to you and he's like, I think we can help you without surgery. And the people he says that to who go through the process called intradisc neutrosis, 98% of them get fixed. 98%. Like what kind of track record is that? 412-906-9600. Can I have stocks that perform that well? 98%?
Yeah, if you're in Congress.
Right? 412-906-9600. Call. See if you are a candidate. Don't put it off. Don't put it off. You know, I can wait. Super vexing. Don't
solutions.
Don't bitch at me that you have to show up and go to work. Like if you've never worked 30 days straight, or you've not been married to somebody who's worked 30 days straight, or Brock who works honest to God, in the last 5 years has probably had, when he wasn't being fired, 5 days off. Legit.
When he wasn't being fired.
Legit. I mean, if we're just being honest, probably, right?
Yeah.
And
Christmas, we took Christmas Day off the first.
And then these people who get 25 days off, you're off the entire month of August. Why?
I would go nuts.
Shit can happen in August. What a cush job.
No wonder they have drinking problems.
What a cush job.
What else are you going to do? You have all that time off.
What a cush job. You have no idea. What? You have a staff? You have people who handle your email? Please.
Yeah, I don't have a staff.
What the hell do you have to do? You have to go and represent the votes of the people who elected you, not go rogue because you got caught having anal sex in some freaking Senate conference room and now you're part of the blackmail and bribery apparatus. So you're like, oh, fudge. I'm not going to vote to censor your guy if you don't vote to censor my girl, right? And then you get these cross-aisle deals going on, then everybody's in the same crap soup together, percolating and yuck. Bobbing down the Potomac with fecal matter.
I was just going to say, it's not just in the Potomac, it's in Capitol Hill. Can you imagine? I honestly...
To her credit, Susan Collins has not missed a vote.
Yeah.
Since 1997.
Now, she might not vote the way you want, but at least she's voting.
I will say I'll give her a little space. She was the one who voted to confirm Kavanaugh. She was the one who was like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but a lot of this stuff is a little too convenient, and I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Who's seen the rumors of Justice Alito retiring before Trump?
Well, that's a problem too, because Clarence Thomas has outlived his entire family. And that's just speaking, you've got a medical history, right? So have you outlived your family, your parents?
No.
How old was your dad?
65.
Beg your pardon, of course. Yeah, he was older.
I outlived my mom, but not my dad, which is weird.
There's never any solution on the left. There's never anything that's beneficial to you. It's always going to cost you.
Well, they never have results.
You always have to pay, right? You always have to give. You have to do with less.
Nothing pisses people off more than having to pay for someone else's mistake.
Or fraud.
It's, Mondami. And it's just not there. It's Washington State. It's all of them. Vote blue, you get screwed. That's with your pants on. First, they pickpocket you.
Pisses me off.
1. Wendy Bell. Inspiring solutions to save America one show at a time. Are you ready to get on board?
You told us when it could be time to panic. Well, is it time to panic? Well, let me just tell you, folks, it's never going to be time to panic because we're never going to give up. We're not going to give up on America. America is worth it. America is worth fighting for. America is worth not giving up. And while we have that attitude of not giving up, we are constantly going to be searching, strategizing, coming up with ways to prevail. We've got the basics. We have millions and millions of Americans that are fed up. Can't wait to do something about it. There will be a series of ideas that people come up with based on dealing with the fraud that we know we have to deal with. You're not alone. You're not a singular individual all by yourself out there trying to fight these people by yourself. There are 74 million plus and growing. We're not going to give up on America.
From sea to shining sea, 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. The Wendy Bell Radio Program.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell Radio Program is live. A reminder, shameless plug. I do it once, I believe, a day. And that is to, if you haven't already done so and gotten our podcast downloaded onto your phone, I hope you do so. It's easy to take with you, and we carve out all the commercials and the chit chat, and every hour is boiled down to about 40 minutes. Wendy Bell Radio is what you plug in wherever you get your podcasts. 7 million people have already done that. So thank you so much for being part of our family. I want to read you this headline. Washington State House Republicans, $4 billion raided from law enforcement and firefighter pension. Oh my gosh. Late Friday night, House Democrats voted to raid $4 billion from the law enforcement and firefighter pension plan to cover the multi-billion-dollar budget deficit they created. Every Republican in State House voted against House Bill 2034. Democrats plan to deposit $569 million in the climate commitment account. So I could get into this and we could spend 4 hours talking about this. There is not a Democrat out there that seems to ever get with the program that the money is not endless. It has a limit. And stealing from the funds of those who have served is such a kick in the pants. It's not even funny. It's like saying to the people of New York, look, we all either got to gang up on the rich folks and the corporations and force them to pay their fair share, or I'm going to screw you all and I'm going to raise your property taxes 10%. And then we'll all be mystified when the mass exodus is complete and everybody then moves to Florida and the state capsizes, because that's what can happen if you're Hank Johnson, right? Make it make sense. This is unacceptable. These are people who think that they are untouchable. You know, we watched in Italy, we watched in the Netherlands, we watched in Germany, we watched all around the planet as little people, farmers, right? Truckers in Canada reached a tipping point and said, no, in fact, no, that's not what we're going to do, because, oh yeah, you work for us and we're not doing it anymore. Where's that point for America, right? I say that of California. When is California going to wake up and people going to fight back? You guys have been bent over every which way. Are you so not tired of being abused? Are you so not tired of your bank account being the one drained to cover their idiotic ideas and their abject theft? John Solomon said something to Dan Bongino, which I thought was quite interesting, and I agree with him. And I trust John Solomon. I've been following him for the better part of 10 years, probably. And he talks about, in this particular exchange with Dan Bongino, he says Donald Trump, the president, is going to change this whole narrative that we're all dealing with right now regarding this Save America Act. It's something that we all agree with. Very few people don't, and those are the cheaters, right? 83% of Americans want this, right? He says, look, Trump every single day is going to be dropping more election integrity videos, and he's going to drop them from 2020, and he's going to drop them on Truth Social, which, by the way, he had to invent, right? He had to create, because during his presidency, they silenced him and kicked him off of X. Muzzled the president of the United States, who had stood on January 6th and put out a video that said, go home, please. Don't cause madness. Listen to law enforcement. This isn't what we want. And they took it down and they shut him off. We wouldn't know about any of this stuff had that not happened. Here's John Solomon with his crystal ball and the president's moves next.
Now we have a bunch of lazy senators who want to threaten the filibuster and not get off their feet and talk and really represent the people and stand for what they believe in. And all the American people are asking John Thune to do is to restore the Senate to the way it used to work before Mitch McConnell's lazy filibuster ideas kind of came into play. And I think that the American people are going to be there. Here's what I think is going to happen, Dan. And I think you probably know some of this because you had a foresight into some of the things that the Bureau now knows that was kept from the American public. I think Donald Trump is going to change the narrative in America. I think he's going to change some senators' minds, and he's going to do it by revealing some of the things that Chris Wray and that Chris Krebs and other major officials who were in charge of the integrity of our elections and who told us it was a perfect election in 2020. He's going to start revealing some of the intelligence that was kept from the American people. And we're going to see that our foreign adversaries have monkeyed with our system more than we knew, more than those driver's licenses coming into Chicago that you helped get all of us to understand about a few months ago, about China sending fake driver's licenses to help Joe Biden in. There are going to be significant efforts by foreign powers, some friends, some enemies, that were trying to meddle in the system, and they got pretty far down that path. And I think when senators realized their state could have been targeted, when senators realized that the intention of the identities of some of their voters might have been assumed, I think there's going to be a different debate in America. And I think if the president takes the time to educate people and show them that maybe the stories we got from the last leadership weren't true, I think he's going to pick off the votes. And then the American people are going to put some pressure on John Thune, and they're going to surgically implant a stiff back, and he's going to change that filibuster for this particular thing, make it a standing filibuster, make the Democrats talk till they drop, and then we'll get a vote in the summer. But I think there's some big, significant, and very troubling revelations about the vulnerabilities of our elections that the president is about to unveil on the American public.
I don't disagree. And then, as I was reading some of the comments to that soundbite online, I stumbled upon this 2000, I forget when it was several years ago, when John Solomon sat down with the Epic Times and recalled the time that 2 federal agents under the Trump first administration came to his house and basically invited him into a very interesting club.
Perhaps the most profound moment of the last decade of my career occurred in March of 17. I had just done a story that got Sean Hannity's attention, so I was on Fox News. It was about a rapid rise in unmaskings, where Americans' intelligence is looked at, even though there's no warrant. They unmask your name, and they know what you said to someone overseas, and they don't get a warrant for it. And it had gone up like 200-300% in the last year of Barack Obama, which is very odd. It was odd to the FISA court. That's why they put the data out. They were concerned that this is a trend. I just thought it was a good civil liberties story, so I wrote it. And at that point, I had been repeatedly told that don't waste your time on Russia collusion. It's going nowhere. And by the way, from some of the most senior leaders of the FBI and the Justice Department, the very people who might also have gone out and told us there was something there when there wasn't. But they were telling me it wasn't. Got home about 10:45, 11 o'clock at night. My wife's already in bed. I pull in the driveway, and there's a blue sedan sitting in front of my mailbox with its yellow fog lights on, and I pull in the driveway, and these 2 GI men get out of their car. It's about 11 o'clock at night, and they, as I'm getting out of my car, say, "Are you Mr. Solomon?" I'm like, "I don't know, am I being arrested? What's going on?" They get throw cuffs on me. Did I break some classified secret I shouldn't today? And they're like, "You don't know who we are. We can't tell you who we are, but you're at the tip of a very large iceberg, and we hope you drill into it." And I'm like, "What in God's name are you guys talking about?" "Well, that thing you were reporting on television tonight." "Yeah, it's a FISA court filing. It is the apex of a very large scandal, and you need to drill down in it." And all right, walk me through this, guy. "Well, we can't tell you. It's all classified." "Okay, that's not very helpful. Can you give me something of more generic description?" "Yeah, we work in the intelligence community, and our agencies were asked to participate in one of the greatest political dirty tricks in history. And if it isn't stopped, and one day when it is uncovered, we will lose the tools that keep you and I safe at night. We won't be able to find terrorists, and we won't find spies, because these tools will be taken from us because we abused them in the last couple of years." I'm like, holy mackerel, what's going on here? And so they couldn't give me much more detail, but they inspired me to start wondering about whether I was missing something big. And I got home by that time, and there were 20 minutes. It was about 11:20 at night. From 11:20 at night to 2 in the morning, I wrote a long email to my then work sister, Sarah Carter, who was just a fantastic reporter, now the drug czar for President Trump. And I just tried to remember everything they told me. Like, "Sarah, I don't know what the hell these guys are trying to tell us, but tomorrow morning, let's wake up and find out." And that sent us on our journey.
Isn't that fascinating? Literally being handpicked by President Trump and being welcomed into the lair of fixing what has been so horribly broken. Huh. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, I want you to hear a guy in his car, all right? He's going to give you about a minute of why there are some people in this country aren't going to be saved. And I think he's at the front of the list. You decide for yourself next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. More Gains Fitness, you guys. More Gains Fitness. We'll go through them together, before and after. How would you like to spend? Now, that's more than 90 days that it took this gentleman to lose that much fat and skin and bulk up like that. Look at that. That's just absolutely nutty. Kelly Morgan does 90. This is a guy who worked 8 months to lose 100 pounds of fat. Is that crazy? That's crazy. How about this woman? I love her. So before on the top, after, look at how small she is here. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Hold on. I'm going through them. I might as well go through them all. I love them. I love her. She's just so stinking cute, right? Before and after. Look at the abs. Look at the arms. 90 days. People are doing 90 days This is how they're changing their lives. So before on the left, after on the right. Is that crazy? Big people, not so big people, and all people in between. You had a couple babies? I resemble that. 90 days later. Say what? Morgain's Fitness. M-O-R-G. Okay. MORGAINZ.com. Look at this. She's freaking ripped. She's like a Victoria's Secret model. 90 days from the comfort of your home. Morgainsfitness.com. How are you guys doing? I love that. John Solomon. That's essentially when he says like Q came to him when he was basically invited in and was like, you're going to be part of our White Knights? Let's go. That's what a lot of people in the comments were saying, which I found, I find that comforting. I think that you have to have this idea that there's a greater thing going on out there. And President Trump is in the driver's seat. We'll see. I don't know. And since I've got, we'll see. We have a full docket of ads this week of sponsors. It's been wonderful. I appreciate you guys being tolerant of that, realizing that's how we make our money and how we pay our bills, right? And I'm also grateful for those of you who've gone so out of your way to support our sponsors on our behalf. It means so much to us. Thank you.
And we will not be here Friday. That is, Wendy saying she's not going to be here does not mean Brock's filling in. Brock is taking the day off too.
Yes.
I love John Solomon. I subscribe to his.
I think
his service. It's a hard read because they get very in depth.
It's long. It's not something that I can just read to you here, because it would take a whole segment because they go back and weave.
Yeah. When JD filled in for you the one time he had John on and he was sitting in the blue green room or whatever you call it. And I was able to say during commercial break, yeah, I know they can hear me.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan. I subscribe.
Were you kind of a geek about it?
Yeah, I was.
Kind of a weirdo?
Yeah.
I kind of got that vibe off of you right then.
Well.
Hey, man, it's all right.
I kind of Harry Antoned them.
You were So I got a little long in the last segment with John Solomon, but I want you to check out this guy. Here's a liberal dude in his car. He's telling you that the Save America Act, it's really a psyop and that you're just too stupid to see what Trump is doing. This is what we're up against because there is a core group. I'm going to say it's probably 30% of these people on the left who will not snap out of the hibernation slumber, out of the trance. They will not, and they're not going to be saved. So here's this guy effusively telling you everything that you think you know about the SAVE Act. No, it's not about voter registration and about, proof of citizenship. It's much more sinister.
We don't need to pass the SAVE Act because there's no problem with our elections. You are in the middle of a massive disinformation campaign by the President of the United States and our foreign adversaries to convince you there's some massive problem with our elections, with our democracy. There's fraud. The 2020 election was stolen. All nonsensical garbage that you believe because you have the IQ of a small animal. The only thing that they get out of convincing you to pass this bill is it makes it harder for people to vote. And when it's harder for people to vote, Republicans win. One of the requirements in the SAVE Act is when you register to vote, you now have to either provide a passport or a birth certificate. I didn't have a passport until this year, and I lost my birth certificate. UPS lost it in the mail. If I was 18 years old voting in my first election where I voted for Joe Biden in Georgia in a swing state, I was very passionate about politics. But if I was told that I had to go get a passport, spend the time finding all these documents, there's like a 50-50 chance I just don't vote. Why are we doing that? Especially when the premise is this idea that there's some fraud problem, and there's not. Absurd.
I'm sure he's looked into it greatly, and I don't know why he's shouting.
He's yelling, but he also gets paid.
Oh.
He's one of the Harry Sisson people.
Oh, so this isn't organic at all, like Tom
no.
Homan was at the top talking about finding children. Got it. Well, I want you to hear. So that's what we're up against. Wackos like that in this paid information campaign. I want to remind you. So yesterday we told you about the Minneapolis City Council taking revenge on 2 hotels that provided rooms for ICE agents during Operation Metro Surge. Well, I want you to listen to the new Democrat Socialist member of council, Robin Wansley, who says she supports rescinding hotel liquor licenses to punish hotels for cooperating with the federal agents. She says this action can be a playbook for other cities defending themselves from ICE. I broke her up in 2 because it's ridiculous. Here's part 1.
I just want to say thank you to Councilmember and Chair Chowdhury for bringing this motion forward. I will be supporting it. I'm also going to be taking additional legislative actions related to this matter in response to the concerns that I've heard from both workers and constituents, and I'll be sharing details about that relatively soon. And yeah, just really grateful that we are approaching this matter, as Council President Payne articulated, it's unprecedented.
Unprecedented. This from a woman who's gone through a lot of school. My goodness. She's not even from freaking Minneapolis. None of them is. She was born on the south side of Chicago. She's an activist and a politician who's been a member of the Minneapolis City Council for a sneeze. She attended Carleton College as a Posse Foundation scholar, right? She graduated with a BA in Women's and Gender Study. This is what you're producing in your liberal institutions. All of them are, right? This is what you're getting, is a woman who believes that you should be vengeful against 2 hotels that provided hotel space for ICE agents while they were operating in Minneapolis. I could tell you the measure failed, right? So all of these liquor licenses, including those 2 yesterday, thank God there were enough people on that city council to be like, what you talking about, Willis? This is ridiculous. Right? Vengeful, petty, but she views this as a playbook for other cities. Really? This is part 2 of her audio soundbite where she says, we need to hold these establishments to the highest standards, which means blackballing them and choosing who's not allowed to stay at their hotel. Really?
And also gives kind of a playbook to other cities who will be and have already experienced this dynamic of how do you make sure you're holding high standards and expectations for establishments when ICE is occupying your communities, and how as elected officials you use your authority to make sure that you're doing everything you can to protect the well-being and welfare of your communities of workers and also businesses.
Do you guys think that represents the values of the people of Minneapolis? Do you think that having this city council member be a snit and try to be vengeful and withhold the renewal of the liquor license of these 2 hotels because they did what hotels do and they weren't discriminatory? A black woman who wants to discriminate against 2 hotels that provided refuge for ICE agents? It's such a bad look. What are we going to talk about next? Reparations? Golly, I sure hope so. So the Minneapolis City Council yesterday has advanced the renewals of all of these hotels. But you know what these whack jobs did on the left? They tried to pretend that the ICE agents got all drunk and rowdy in the lobby and started making a mess and creating problems for these hotels. Well, it's so funny because they don't have any evidence of that. Nobody willing to step forward and testify that that's what they witnessed. Oh. It's sort of like the safest, most secure elections ever, right? Right. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, we're going to talk about the sound of suck. Hillary Clinton, the ultimate serpent, asked about Bill and how chummy he was with Jeffrey. Oh my. Masterclass next. All right, so I want to tell you about Blood Flow 7 before I run to the bathroom. Blood Flow 7 is really the only thing that I can attribute my stamina, the absolute surge of focus and strength and just drive If something as simple as a molecule, nitric oxide, can open up the blood vessels in your body so that you get increased blood flow all throughout your body, if that one thing makes that much of a difference, I got to tell you, you have to try it. You have to try it. I take it every day. I will take it with me this weekend when I travel out of town. I absolutely will not go a day without bloodflow7.com/Wendy. It doesn't matter if you're young, right? It doesn't matter if you're middle-aged like I am. It doesn't matter if you're old, you feel old. If you have trouble with stamina, like walking up the steps kind of wins you. If carrying a laundry basket around is like, woo, or getting in the yard and bending over and pulling weeds and maybe doing a few things gets you winded, it's going to change your world. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Use the promo Wendy30, 30% off. You're welcome.
I don't know if you guys saw, it's on townhall.com, one of the many sites that we frequent, that pay attention to the Netherlands' newest tax scheme. Listen to this. On February 13th, the Dutch parliament voted to enact a 36% tax on unrealized capital gains in stocks, crypto, and bonds. You're getting taxed on money you don't even have in your hand. Money that is sitting there waiting for you to retire, they're getting taxed on. If you don't think that this is coming to America with Democrats, they've been, the story about Washington raiding the pensions. This is what the government has been doing to Social Security for years. Years. I agree with a lot of you guys. Like, what are your options other than not to pay taxes? What other options do you have? Because every time the age goes up, and I understand that when this started, the life expectancy and all that. Okay. But that doesn't give them carte blanche. That's their rainy day fund. That's their slush fund. Our money is their slush fund. Like, at some point, the money runs dry. And I would love to see Americans step back and say, that's it, we're going to have a tax-free year. I'd love to see Trump come out and say, for 1 year, no taxes. Let's get this government on a budget to where they're not relying on you.
Yeah. How about it?
1 year.
Great idea. It was interesting. Who were we talking to? We were talking to Jolene and Tom. Or was it them? We were talking to somebody who was going to try gummies for sleep. And they're going to do some CBD gummies. And they're like, I really don't like doing stuff like that. Like, I feel like I'm doing drugs. And it's like, no. There's nothing druggy about CBD. There is nothing at all druggy about pain after exercise being soothed. I will tell you, I get arthritis here, arthritis pain in my knuckles. Well, thanks, Mom. And I will tell you, CB Distillery, which has got this is their smash sale. I don't remember them doing a beginning of the year sale of up to 50%, everything in the store.
Yeah, usually it's Christmas or Black Friday.
That's it. And this is so odd. And I think it might just be you guys. I don't know, but they're up to 50% off. But they have oils and other things that you could put on and rub in. And I will tell you, it absolutely takes the edge off. Their gummies are fantastic for sleep and for calm.
They taste good.
They taste good. So it's like a little granulated sugar on the outside, and you suck on it or chew it up, and down it goes. And in 30 minutes, you start to feel just a little bit. It makes pain go away, stress more manageable, your sleep more reliable. I'm all about CBDistillery.com, promo code, I think it's Rumble. I think on this one, it's Rumble. Make
It
sure.
is.
Okay, promo code Rumble. There you go. And you're going to save up to 50%. It's just so great. I love these people.
Kate takes the gummies to numb me out. It takes the me. It numbs her to me. So she can
Oh, is that what
not
she
have
tells
to
you?
deal with me. Yeah.
Because you're so hard to deal with?
Yeah.
Ah. Are you?
No.
Maybe you are. What would you be hard to deal with? Like, what would she say you're hard to deal with?
I'm very rigid on things,
Like what?
putting things where they belong, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm pretty easygoing.
How? So are you rigid or are you easygoing?
Both.
Ah.
I'm firm yet yielding, like your ghost bed.
Ah. Program. All right, so we're at the midway point of the program, and I wanted to nestle in the Princess of Darkness here, Hillary Clinton, ladies and gentlemen, because this headline at Gateway Pundit yesterday, I'm literally sitting in my ghost bed, right? And I'm thinking, let's go through Twitter and see what's going on in the world, and this story pops in my news feed, and I'm like, Hillary Clinton laughs after she's asked about this salacious photo of her husband, Bill Clinton, in a hot tub with an alleged Epstein sex trafficking victim. Hillary Clinton laughed. I'm like, no way. That's a terrible look. So I read the article. Hillary, and we're going to play the interview for you. So you decide for yourself what you hear. Because it's important to hear a world champion propagandist, dirtbag, snake, liar, deep state activist. It's amazing what you can glean from them when you step back and you pay attention to the methods. And there are various methods. So let me read you a couple paragraphs here before we dump a little Hillary on you, because don't you know? The reason why Bill was flying around so many times on Epstein's plane, he was hobnobbing so often over at his secluded little island. It was all for charity, duh, right? It's so, you silly people, you just get your head out of the gutter. All right, here we go. Hillary Clinton laughed after she was confronted about the salacious photo of her husband, Bill Clinton, in a hot tub with an Epstein sex trafficking victim. The Justice Department in December released that new batch of documents back then related to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's sex trafficking cases. The trove of documents released after that federal judge ordered blah, blah, blah. Trump signed it, yada, yada. They were released on the DOJ's website in the Epstein Library. New trove of documents include never-before-seen photos of Bill Clinton in a hot tub swimming with a mystery woman, on and on. So the BBC sits down and interviews Hillary Clinton. Hillary is over. Where is she? She's in Germany. She's in Berlin. She's at the thing, whatever she's doing. Let me see. I think I wrote it down somewhere. But the BBC reporter sits down with Hillary. And to this woman's credit, I got to say, she's pretty tough. And she asks very basic questions. Hillary's in town because she and Bill are giving some address about protecting democracy to a bunch of world leaders and elitists, right? What did we talk about at the beginning of the program? We're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. In a constitutional republic, the Constitution sets guardrails over how much control our elected leaders have over decision-making, because it's we, the people, who are in charge, and they're the ones who are supposed to execute our wishes. In a democracy, it's just whatever majority rule, right? So here's Hillary Clinton, and she's asked basically, let's talk about President Trump. Let's talk about Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein. Listen to the question. This is where Hillary diverts very quickly. Step one, divert away from the question and point attention at somebody else, namely Donald Trump. See if she sticks the landing on that.
Do you regret the links that there have been between Epstein, Maxwell, and the Clinton family?
Well, let me start by saying that A law was passed in Congress to require that all the files that have anything to do with them be released. And what we're seeing, I think it's fair to say, is a continuing cover-up by the Trump administration. In fact, when the Attorney General testified last week, it was quite a scene because she refused to answer questions. She diverted attention away from the matters at hand. She refused to look at the survivors. So there's something about this administration's attitude toward this, which I think really leads us to conclude they have something to hide. We don't.
Well, it's interesting because that wasn't the question. You just spent 48 seconds talking about all the reasons why we shouldn't be talking about you and your nasty husband and the gross things that you guys both did on that island, even though Hillary's like, I never met Jeffrey Epstein. So she diverted all the attention away. And she says, obviously, the Trump administration has something to hide. Really? So step number 2 here in this audio soundbite, after you divert, you got to dig into it, right? So when she's called onto the carpet, the ploy is speak slowly and try another diversion to refocus the blame on somebody else. Now, you're going to pay attention here because the BBC reporter gets a bonus for asking a follow-up question. If you're watching the video, pay close attention to Hillary Clinton's eyes.
Just to be clear, do you regret the links that there have been?
You know, we have no links. We have a very clear record that we've been willing to talk about, which my husband has said. He took some rides on the airplane for his charitable work. I don't recall ever meeting him.
Did you ever meet Ghislaine Maxwell?
I did on a few occasions, and thousands of people go to the Clinton Global Initiative. So it to me is not something that is really at the heart of what this matter is about. They are accused, and in both cases were convicted of horrific crimes against girls and women. That should be the focus.
That should be the focus, not my husband banging underage girls, right? Not me doing disgusting things too, probably, right? We're going to divert again. So you didn't catch my drift. I told you that we were going to blame Donald Trump. Now I'm going to tell you we should be talking about the gross things that Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell did. Don't be talking about me. I never met the guy, which is kind of an interesting thing.
Meanwhile, there's pictures of them at Chelsea's wedding.
Oh, at Chelsea Clinton's wedding.
Yeah,
oh my God. That photo.
I wonder if they left a gift.
Oh my goodness. That photo, maybe it was an Hermes handbag like Catherine Rummel got, right? What else? What could it be? What did they give her? I don't know. I don't know them at all. They were at my daughter's wedding. Other than that, I got nothing. Step number 3, if those first 2 things, divert and dig in, don't work, you've got to assert your dominance, right? The reporter isn't having any of it. And she's like, but still, you're not answering my question. So this is where Hillary puts her foot down and she reminds the reporter, basically, do you know who I am? Be aware of who I am and who you are, because I trump you right now. Don't you forget it. Listen.
Let's be very clear here. According to what we now know, Mr. Trump, President Trump, is mentioned, some say, 1 million times in the files. People in his cabinet are mentioned.
Do you know that figure's correct?
That's what it says, on the internet over and over again. So let's find out what the truth is. That's why we want it to be transparent and in public.
Oh. So we're going to wrap up smear him. So you haven't paid attention to me, BBC reporter. I don't want to be asked about this. That's not what we're supposed to be talking about. I've tried to divert twice. I'm saying it one more time. Do you hear me? And this is where she employs the Karl Marx move, right? Accuse your enemy of doing what you're doing as you're doing it to create confusion. Here you go, master snaky, slithery class of doing that, Hillary Clinton.
There are calls for another individual who denies wrongdoing to go before Congress on this matter. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, formerly Prince Andrew. Do you think he should testify?
I think everybody should testify.
including the former prince.
I think everybody should testify who is asked to testify. I just want it to be fair. I want everybody treated the same way. That's not true for my husband and me, because other witnesses were asked to testify. They gave written statements under oath. We offered that. They want to pull us. Why do they want to pull us into this? To divert attention from President Trump. This is not complicated. This is so obvious, and they keep trying to divert. Look at this shiny object. We're going to have the Clintons, even Hillary Clinton, who never met the guy. We're going to have her there. Let's focus on what's really happening here. You have an attorney general and a Justice Department attempting to hide information that should be made public.
The third time now, she has tried to turn the tables and blame President Trump and his administration for this. The president of the United States, who was effectively the FBI whistleblower back in the early 2000s, who blew him into the West Palm Beach Police Department and was like, guys, you've got to investigate this Epstein guy because he's got underage chicks and it's not a good look. He was the one who blew them in. And Hillary knows it, and she's trying desperately to twist it around and blame Trump of doing exactly what she's doing. I think everybody should come in and testify. Well, you were asked for months, why didn't you respond to all of those letters? Why did it take a threat of a contempt of Congress vote? Hillary, because you knew Democrats were down with that. You'd have to testify. You thought that your name and your brand, do you know who I am, was going to get you off of the hook, until some BBC reporter was like, yeah, I don't really care about you. And I'm perfectly healthy and have no ill will towards myself. So I should be here tomorrow morning when, yeah. Step number 5, by the way, when steps 1 through 4 don't work and you're Hillary Clinton and you're trying like heck to weasel your way out of this, make sure you warn your opponent with a smile to move on. This is why Donald Trump even says that Hillary Clinton is way smarter than Bill Clinton. So this is the question. What did you think when you saw your husband so often in photographs on the plane, in a hot tub, in a pool, on the island? What did you think? Were you embarrassed? Listen.
What was your reaction when you saw some of the material that has been released? I'm thinking, for example, of images of your husband apparently in a hot tub in a swimming pool on Epstein's plane. What was your reaction to that? And do you know the context surrounding some of those images?
Absolutely. And it wasn't a hot tub on a plane. It was one of the stops they made to look at philanthropic and charitable work that my husband has done, saving literally millions of lives around the world. It turned out that was done long before there was any public awareness and certainly any conviction of any crime by Jeffrey Epstein. So it was a short period of time that was in pursuit of charitable philanthropic work. A lot of people were traveling at the same time. Many staff members, guests, other supporters of the foundation. If Bill and I had a penny for every person we've taken pictures with, we would be extremely rich today.
Nice diversion. How many philanthropic jobs have you sought for or looked for, Brock, that involved you swimming in a hot tub or a pool with a very young blonde woman?
0.
That didn't happen when you went to Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and wanted to be a big brother? They didn't say, hey, why don't you put on these swim trunks and hop in this pool? That's the kind of philanthropy I don't do. What the hell are you doing? Philanthropically speaking, as you're saving literally millions of lives, sort of like Bill Gates. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, I want you to make it make sense. How is it possible that the world is more worried about dogs in Morocco than they are about missing children in America? Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. So gross. She looks. But if you look at her eyes,
she looks like Senator Palpatine after he got zapped.
You know what? All she needs is the thing.
Yeah.
Right?
She looks like Senator Palpatine.
Right? And maybe a little dark lips. Plus, she's got Nancy Pelosi's teeth thing. She's got the denture thing. You can hear it like, God bless you if you've got them.
And let's 2 things. One, she didn't care about Bill with other women because that's a political marriage. And 2, did you hear how she tried to say those aren't true? It wasn't a hot tub on a plane.
Yeah, that's not what she said.
That's not what she said.
She was saying in a hot tub, comma, on a plane,
plane.
comma, in a pool. She didn't say there was a hot tub on a plane.
Yeah.
Right, I picked up on that the first 4 times I heard it too. I wanted to jump through and choke a bitch. Sorry.
Throw her down the stairs.
God.
She's dead.
Isn't that just so disturbing? I think it's very disturbing to hear that. I want to tell you about the Simkovich Concussion Institute. That's not at all disturbing because you get healed. You get healed and you get to go into a place that they, if you've been to the doctor and you feel like you're on this, you got like a 5-minute window to talk to the doctor because there's all these other people down the hall. And you've got to go see them. And so there's no time. I noticed that with an OBGYN, of all things that you don't need to be like lickety splitted through. She's like, all right, see you later. Take care now, as she's taking off her gloves. And I'm like, what happened? Right? Do you have a cigarette? Right? At the Simkovich Concussion Institute, they want you. And they want you for chunks of time. Because there's no speeding through healing a hurt brain. If you've been concussed, if you suffered an injury to your brain, you know it. You feel it. You're not right. Everything's off. Everything's wrong. And what if you could get fixed? And what if you could get fixed in like 5 days? What if by this time next week, you're like, woohoo! Thank you, God. This is what Dr. Simkovich does. It's this intense treatment protocol. There's no needles, no blood, no operating. It's his hands. It's your face. It's your soft palate. He manipulates you. And he moves things around. And he fixes you. 412-366-3700. 412-366-3700. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. Because it works. It freaking works. So I wonder if Andy sold any of those.
Mm-hmm.
If our mutual friend got, if having your flag up was beneficial to him at all. Because disinfect with sniper.com, you guys can still get those. Good talk, Brock.
I like it. We have to figure out a way to hang it, but you can get a bunch of stuff there. And I don't know for sure, but I think the embroidered one should be, and they were on back order.
Mm-hmm.
And he also said that some people have reached out to own businesses, some of you guys, and wanted bigger ones. That if you contact them, he'll special order them for you. But you
Disinfectwithsniper.com.
Yeah.
Disinfectwithsniper.com. It's
free shipping.
It's just the best. Some of the best stuff. I actually have a conversation today with a new potential sponsor, and I'm very excited about it because it's products I've been using since this summer and I just ran out of.
Oh, is this what I think it is?
I've been talking about this for a while, and just in time for Mother's Day. I think you're really going to like this. I got a box of their product yesterday, and I was like,
I've been talking about it.
I've been talking about them for a while. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. This is one of those, it's one of those stories that I don't think anybody else would talk about, but it's odd and it spoke to me. And it's a headline from Breitbart today. And this is what it says. Report, 3 million dogs to be killed by firing squad ahead of World Cup. I was like, 3 million dogs? Who on God's green earth has 3 million stray dogs that would need to be euthanized? That'd be Morocco, apparently. Animal rights groups have expressed outrage over Morocco's alleged killing of millions of stray dogs ahead of the 2030 FIFA World Cup. This is according to a recent report. Organizations such as the International Animal Welfare and Protection Coalition and PETA have criticized Moroccan officials for culling the population of roughly 3 million stray dogs, according to the Daily Mail. The animal rights organizations have reportedly released images and testimony claiming that Moroccan officials are resorting to using harsh methods, such as clamping dogs by the neck, loading them into trucks, and poisoning or shooting them before disposing of their bodies. It sounds awful, right? So where's all the outrage over the 500,000 missing children? Because that's the story that I think we should be talking about. I care about dogs, but really not. I really don't. Not 3 million stray dogs in a country that obviously let things get out of control. Why is it we're more worried about a pet or about an animal than we are about fellow human beings? Why is it that in exchange with a woman, a protester in her car who was being a malignant kamikaze Karen, as an ICE agent said to her, you realize you've just interrupted us taking into custody a criminal illegal alien who broke our laws to get here and has been raping children. And she's like, I don't care about that. Full stop. I do. I don't know how you make a connection with that kind of a person. And I'm not going to tell you any more about this culling of these dogs, but isn't it curious that that deserves a headline? That deserves outrage. That has activist groups. Where are the groups? Like, where are the climate wackos in Washington, D.C. and Virginia and Maryland, where the Potomac River sludge, slurry, fecal matter cocktail is percolating and festering hundreds of millions of gallons of raw sewage? Where are your climate wackos? They're nowhere. They're not gluing their hands to the Mona Lisa. Ugh. They're not trying to, like, spray paint Stonehenge. Like, is it all an act? Is it all a show? Is all of your activism just mumbo jumbo garbage, reason for you to be pissed at something and to create, outrage? I don't know. I want you to hear Scott Libido. You've heard this guy before. He's weighing in his car. He's an influencer, but he's a truth teller. I love him. And he's like, you know what? This whole Nancy Guthrie thing. There's a missing girl. She's been missing for weeks. You've never heard of her before. Why is that? Piggybacks nicely against this whole idea. Listen.
Hey, America. I'm only asking for a friend. There's this young 15-year-old black girl, Leah Freeman, from Grovestown, Georgia. She's been missing for a couple of weeks. Her family is dying to get her back. For some help to find this poor child. So I'm asking America, is there any way that we can borrow one of the 500 helicopters searching the world for Miss Guthrie? Can we borrow one of the 500 bloodhounds searching throughout the woods of America for Miss Guthrie? Could we get one of those heating drones to help find this poor little girl, Leah Freeman? Can we get one of the dozens of dolphins with the laser on its head searching for Miss Guthrie? Can we borrow one of these resources to try to find this little girl who doesn't come from a famous family? She's from the inner city, probably not a well-to-do financially family, but a family nevertheless, like the other 100,000 missing children. All due respect to the Guthrie family, but come on, it's not fair. It's an embarrassment.
It's not fair. It's an embarrassment. Like, where are the priorities? Like, if that's your mom, do you want every resource spent to find her? Yeah, but what are we doing? Where are our priorities? Where is the barometer? Where is that moral center of this country? Because I don't understand it. We can get all upset about euthanizing dogs, millions of dogs, halfway around the world in another country you and I will never go to, right? We could talk about that. Or we could find some children. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is on tap. Jeffrey Epstein's rancid ripple effect is just kind of beginning. And it's curious when it's LA Mayor Karen Bass waving the magic wand. Like, really? Sit down, sweetness. Let's go there. Oh, next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I love how she's like, this guy should resign because he's been connected to Epstein and Maxwell. I'm like, you want to talk about resigning? We can talk about resigning. Like, you can talk all you want about Casey Wasserman. How about we talk about you, Karen? Because your ripple effect has a lot more feeling, has a lot more reach. All right, let's go. Ireland Contracting. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. I will say, I think it's now kind of serendipitous that my friend Dan Ireland was not able to come over to my house before the weather got yucky this winter to do some landscape lighting, because we've decided to do some stuff in our backyard, and it would change all of that anyway. So it would have been a redundancy and it would have been a waste of money. So I'm going to put him on speed dial down the road for me to come when all of this. I think we're going to do a pretty big construction project at the back of our house. And I'm going to call Dan Ireland.
What about your fan?
I'm going to say, well, I mean, he's got the fan. I've got a couple things. So if I can get him out, I'm going to do that. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. Look, home exterior renovation stuff, remodeling, all of that. That is what the wheelhouse of Ireland Contracting is. But it's nice to have somebody like a plumber or an electrician that you could have, that you can trust. Because I've had him in my house. I've had him in my house when I'm not home. And Murphy has been there with him. And he's a good guy. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. I'm the whole 3 million dogs, and people are like,
there's a lot of stray animals, and don't miss the point that that's a shame too.
I don't disagree.
You know, well, people are like, you don't understand dogs. I would step over some people to get to a dog. But yeah, if I have to make a choice between finding kids or taking care of the dog, I'm gonna say that the priority here is you find the kids. You keep that in the forefront of the news, and you do that first. My dog couldn't be a stray. He wouldn't last.
I want to read this from Heather. Heather, who knows Brock and me, and she's great. I've been drinking Dr. Gundry's MCT Wellness. I love the blueberry lemonade, and I don't really even like blueberry. I know, me too. I was up to 190 pounds because my thyroid medication was not working. I've since gotten it adjusted, but I also started to drink the MCT Wellness, the healthy fat drink that you talk about. And honestly, I haven't even been eating any differently. Right? She had her medications adjusted, which certainly makes a huge difference with weight and whatnot. But she then started drinking Dr. Gundry's, the healthy fat. I am now down to 175 pounds. 15 pounds is a lot of weight. I'm so excited, she writes. My waistline has gone down 2 belt holes. I could never lose any weight before, even with my medication at the right dose. So this is a huge game changer. Thank you for always having such wonderful sponsors. That is MCT Wellness. That is this. That is the healthy fat. That is the good stuff. And this is what I say to you. You know, this is a dietary supplement. This helps silence your hunger for hours. And you could drink it in lieu of a meal. And I think that's how Dr. Gundry lost 70 pounds. And he's seen thousands of people have similar stories, literally, because it's been 20 years. This has been out for 20 years. Right? And I say, if you're already drinking water, and you do, we all do, why wouldn't you throw a scoop of this in it and enjoy that? It's quenchy, it's delicious, it's tart but sweet, it's not overdone, and it goes to your cravings and your hunger for about 5 hours. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. It just makes sense. This is not for your casual, I got 5 pounds to lose. If you want to lose some significant weight, this is perhaps part of your repertoire. I drink it anyway, and I don't have huge amounts of weight to lose, but I won't stop. It's fantastic. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy.
Oh, did we know this?
Oh, no.
Assistant AG Harmeet Dillon just argued before the Supreme Court that election day means one election day, not weeks or months of voting and counting. I didn't know she was...
I didn't know that. 2.32 rumbles. Holy moly. This is not good for us today, you guys. If you could, please help us and hit that rumble button. It's the thumbs up bubble. And it turns green after you've smashed it, I think.
Ooh. Just in, Russia offers the U.S. $12 trillion in deals in exchange for lifting sanctions. The Economist reports.
Wow.
Can we talk a little conspiracy?
Yeah. What do you
Are
think?
you guys down with Susie Wiles? I can't get a read.
You think she's deep state?
I do. I do.
You think she's giving Trump ad? Hi, Boiling Point Live. How are you, babe? How nice to see you. Lovely. With 2.1 thousand followers. Good for you. Good for you. You've worked hard for those.
So a lot of you guys aren't down with Susie Wiles. I just you know what? I don't hear enough from her. It just makes me want, like, at the beginning it was all about, she just doesn't like the spotlight, but I don't know. My Scooby senses.
I don't know. I don't have a vibe on her.
Yeah, I believe she's the one that pushed for Pam Bondi.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Like they're pretty connected.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family. She once hosted a 3-hour show in just 15 minutes. She once intimidated the Electoral College to audit itself. Her monologues are so sharp, they're considered a concealed carry weapon. Fact-checker sites routinely issue her a retraction a week in advance. Even her commercial breaks trend on social media. Her freedom of speech has diplomatic immunity. She doesn't just drain the swamp has to ask for cab fare. Wendy Bell is the most interesting conservative woman on radio. Keep rumbling, my friends. 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is live. The dangerous part of this whole Jeffrey Epstein saga, debacle, just awful story is that nobody really knows anything. It's all a bunch of suggestion, supposition, and throwing the scarlet letter at other people, hoping to deflect from your own culpability or presumed. There's just so many layers of ways to look at this, right? Now, are there awful people who are part of that whole empire? Of course. But to lump everybody into a melting pot of accusations and innuendo is extraordinarily frightening. My husband sent me, and very rarely does Joe send me any kind of articles, but he sent me one yesterday, and it's about a very interesting story about how Ken Paxton, the Attorney General of Texas, who's running for Senate, just blindsided the Texas Medical Board and went to bat for a physician named Dr. Mary Bowden, who was sued and literally roto-rootered by, agents in the medical board and all of these people who allege that she gave ivermectin to her patients during COVID. She didn't follow protocol. She didn't She went against our wishes. Well, she saved all of her patients' lives. So we're going to put that on the back burner, right? But it's this whole idea that you should go after somebody who actually has a better solution or is going against whatever you demand is the truth. And Ken Paxton was like, Bungu. That's not how this is going to go. And if he is successful in this endeavor, he's basically telling these medical boards that have gotten way too big for their britches, hey, how about you sit down and shut up? And let's let the doctors be doctors. Let's let you do your bureaucratic mumbo jumbo of suck. Let's let doctors do doctor stuff, okay? Because doctors know what's best for their patients, or they should. That sort of a ripple effect is happening in the medical world. What we're experiencing in these Epstein files is just a different kind of ripple effect. It's let's put our toe in the water or throw a pebble in the water to create a ripple whenever we need a story to smoke screen from legitimate coverage of our own either failures or our illegal activities. That's pretty much what it is. It's a hornet's nest. And if you happen to be getting involved in it, if you happen to have sent Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell or had any reason to deal with them, and you weren't being, on the island and you weren't having sex with children, but you get sucked into this, oh, well, you're the collateral damage. You're like the January Sixers. Well, we needed somebody to vilify. We needed another storyline to suck the oxygen out of the environment and push everybody's attention over here, away from us. That's what Hillary Clinton tried to do with that BBC interview. No. See, this isn't about me. This isn't about my husband. That's not about us being horrible people. It's about a pedophile. It's about his nasty, madam girlfriend. It's about Donald Trump. It's about Pam. She was like, it's about everybody but me. And once you start to see that, it's like, here he is. Karen Bass is doing that right now in Los Angeles. So there's a little bit of fallout here. I don't care about Casey Wasserman. Casey Wasserman is some guy who is some rich guy who he's an agent or what have you he runs a global agency for sports, music, and lifestyle marketing, representing stars including Ed Sheeran and all sorts of athletes. Well, apparently he's on this, in this trove of documents that have dropped. And he sent some, flirty, racy, sexually suggestive messages to Ghislaine Maxwell. And I'm going to read you this because now Karen Bass, for some reason, the loser zero communist wacko mayor of Los Angeles, who is a complete failure, is now saying this Casey Wasserman guy, who's extraordinarily wealthy and was tapped years ago to be part of this Summer Olympic Planning Committee for 28 for LA to host them. Well, because this Wasserman guy has been exchanging emails or is in the files that he should be basically persona non grata. He should step aside from his job on this Olympic committee and should basically slither away into the grass to never be seen again. It's a very dangerous walk because I know nothing about what the guy did. I can read a couple emails and be like, all right, whatever, that's on you. But to come out, knives out, pitchforks sharpened, and the torches all lit and flaming, ready to go. Let's storm the castle. It's a little scary. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, let's go, called upon Casey Wasserman to step down as head of the 2028 Olympics Organizing Committee after correspondence between he and Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, surfaced. As the Epstein files release unfolded, emails from 2003 featured Wasserman engaged in a flirtatious exchange with Ghislaine Maxwell. So, from 23 years ago, where he says, I hope I see you in a tight leather outfit. That's it. That's where we're going. Banish the guy, ruin his life, kick him off of everything. It's what they tried to do to Dr. Mary Bowden, right? Because she knew ivermectin was effective. Damn you. I think of you all the time. So what do I have to do to see you in a tight leather outfit? Wasserman told Maxwell in one exchange from 23 years ago. In another one, Maxwell and Wasserman discussed massages, wherein she asked him if it would be foggy enough so that you can float naked down the beach and no one can see you unless they are close up. Wasserman responded, or something like that. Is this where we are? So Wasserman says he deeply regrets his correspondence with Maxwell 23 years ago, saying that these emails occurred long before her horrific crimes came to light, right? Isn't that what Hillary just said? Oh, Bill did philanthropic things with Jeffrey all the time, but that was well before we knew anything about his disgusting ways. So who gets to get that as an excuse and who doesn't? Karen Bass. She said, my opinion is that Casey Wasserman should step down from this Olympic planning committee in Los Angeles. Such a distraction. She said it on CNN yesterday. She said, I think that decision was unfortunate, that the Los Angeles 28 board's decision to keep him. They were like, well, it was 23 years ago. I don't have any pictures of him doing anything. What are we supposed to do with that? She says, I think that decision was unfortunate. I don't support the decision. I do think that we need to look at the leadership of the Olympic Committee in LA. That's what she's saying. Karen Bass, of all people, talking about leadership and a lack thereof. That's freaking rich. She says, however, as my job as mayor of Los Angeles is to make sure that our city is completely prepared to have the best Olympics that has ever happened in Olympic history. No, your job as the mayor of Los Angeles is to approve of a building permit so people can get back into their land and build their homes, Karen. I think we should probably review some of the rich reasons why I take such an offense to Karen Bass waving her magic wand of sanctimony and moral high ground around anybody. Right? I mean, is this the same Karen Bass who cut $17.6 million from the LA Fire Department budget just months before the January 2025 Pacific Palisades fire amid union contract raises totaling 20 to 25% over 5 years, basically leaving the city penniless and the fire hydrants dry? Is that the same Karen Bass, the fire hydrants and the reservoirs that are specifically supposed to be filled and tarped for these very emergencies, but they weren't? That Karen Bass, yeah. That Karen Bass who thinks that the Olympic Committee needs better leadership than this Casey Wasserman guy who 23 years ago sent flirty messages to Ghislaine Maxwell. I don't know what else he did, if he did anything. But isn't it so curious how the left is jumping on with knives? We're going to carve him out. Is this the same Karen Bass who vacationed in freaking Ghana? During the early fire warnings, they told her, look, there's a wind's coming. It's like 70 miles an hour. This is the time that we need to be on high alert. She's like, well, suck it. I'm going to go to Ghana because that seems like more fun. Is that her? Yeah. Prompting calls for her resignation. Yeah, that's her. Is that the same Karen Bass who's accused of lying about receiving danger alerts? The same one who ordered fire officials to downplay an FBI investigation into her fire response failure? Is it the same Karen Bass who's now waving her wand of judgment over Casey Wasserman or anybody else, who appointed a friend as the head of LA's Department of Water and Power and who pays her twice what her predecessor was paid amid budget cuts that left those hydrants dry and the reservoirs unfilled? Yeah, that's the same one. Same Karen Bass. Just thought we should kind of chew on that for a minute because that's what's going on out there, guys. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program. So you can imagine President Trump, he's like, look, I'm ready to offer federal help. We're going to shut this sewage spill on the Potomac. We got to get people out there to clean it up. All I need is for these mayors and governors to call me and ask for help. I'll tell you how that's going next on the Wendy Bell radio program. Like, honestly, I don't know if Casey Wasserman was having sex on Epstein's Island, if he was a frequent flyer on the Lolita Express. I don't know. All I saw was 2 emails and his name doing flirty stuff with people, with Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay. So what if 23 years ago, well, it would be longer than that because I've been married longer than that. What if I dated somebody when I was in college who was a serial killer? And I didn't know about it. They became a serial killer after we dated. Is that something that you guys would be like, well, I'd have to question your character. Really? That's on me, his behavior. That's on me. You're going to judge me based on something years ago. Yes, we are. Oh, okay. Very dangerous. It's very dangerous. I want to tell you about GLP-1 Gold by Juvenon, bloodflow7.com. Same promo code, Wendy30, 30% off. This is a product that works like the shots for weight loss. But instead of pushing the hormone into your body, pushing the chemical into your body that basically crushes your appetite and forces you to lose weight fast because you're literally nauseous and you're like, I don't really feel that great, right? Instead of pushing that, the GLP-1 Gold from Juvenon is something that's far more natural, naturally triggers that receptor in your brain and the hormone that's produced that triggers your body to feel like it's full. And that's what this GLP-1 Gold does, to reinforce that signal naturally so that you don't have to have a shot. You don't feel the need to eat as much as you normally do. And it's not a shot with long-term side effects that you don't know about. Read about the ingredients. It's one of the things I really like about Juvenon. They put everything there for you, all of the things you have questions about. Go to bloodflow7.com. It's on their main page. GLP-1 Gold. Again, weight loss supplement. Very successful. Do it if you've got weight to lose, significant weight to lose. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Wendy30 is the promo code. And I think all we have to talk about, Brock, is our buddy Darren.
I'm waiting for my.
Huh?
I'm waiting for my GLP.
I just think, I don't want to be here defending people who hobnobbed with disgusting human beings.
But you also don't want to chastise people because they
I don't know.
email back and
I don't
forth.
know the details.
Yeah.
I'm not in some position to judge, but apparently Karen Bass is. So she's probably got some beef with Casey Wasserman.
You pray votes Republican.
Whatever.
Or better yet, he might know Trump.
Right?
That would be bad.
That is tasty. Ronda Rousey coming out of MMA retirement to fight Carano.
Nice. Chick fight.
Wow. That is gnarly.
Oh, chick fights.
Are those real or is that all fake too?
That's real.
Is it?
Yeah.
MMA stuff?
Yeah.
Is that Joe Rogan stuff?
Yeah, that's Dana White.
That's where they have no shoes on or socks?
Yeah.
They just beat the tar out of each other?
Right.
You guys catch my vibe on this whole Jeffrey Epstein hornet's nest. There's no winning, right? And I don't get any delight, any kind of weird, perverted pleasure learning about the proclivities and disgusting choices of other people. I just don't. And one would hope that somewhere there is some kind of justice. I don't know what it looks like. But I think this, dipping into the cauldron of accusation is extraordinarily unhealthy. And it's something that the left loves to do, love to pile on, love to celebrate people who are, struggling. It's pathological. It's totally off-putting. How about this? Trump is waiting. Literally, if he's got a bat phone, if there's a special phone, he's waiting for it to ring because that phone call will trigger a federal response to manage this mess from the raw sewage. Just the News wrote a story on this. Trump directs Maryland and Virginia to request help with sewage spill. I am awaiting your call. Honestly, the president of the United States sees, he hears, he knows it all. He's like, all you've got to do is request it. It's ready, right? I've already gotten all the ducks in a row. We're ready to roll. You got to call it. That's the way the process works. Crickets. So are you literally going to let the Potomac River be polluted with hundreds of more millions of gallons of raw wastewater, human filth? To have a cataclysmic effect for how long? Just because you don't want to show Trump cleaning up your mess? So Trump highlighted that if the government does get involved, it comes amid the Department of Homeland Security shutdown. Of course, that operates FEMA, but he was committed to helping fix the problem. President Donald Trump appeared to change his tune Tuesday regarding federal assistance with last month's sewage spill in the Potomac River, instructing Washington, D.C., Virginia, and Maryland to request the help instead of sending FEMA. Request the help. The comment comes after or a day after Trump said the Federal Emergency Management Agency would immediately get involved with helping to clean up the spill, which began January 19th after a sewer line breach in Maryland caused millions of gallons of sewage to be dumped into the river. Maryland, Virginia, and Washington, D.C., who are responsible for the massive sewage spill in the Potomac River, must get to work immediately, Trump posted on Truth Social. If they can't do the job, they have to call me and ask politely to get it fixed. The federal government is not at all involved with what has taken place, but we can fix it, he continued. This is a radical left-caused environmental hazard. And with all of their talk about carbon footprints and everything else, they're allowing hundreds of tons of sewage to pour into the mighty Potomac, making it much less mighty. Act fast. I am awaiting your call. That's it. See, this is the us part. I don't look at that fix as being a Republican fix. I look at it as being something that has to happen. Whoever is the one in charge, do it. And if your petty little political games, if your mumbo jumbo gets in the way of that, step aside. Step aside. Trump highlighted that if the government does get involved, it comes at the expense of Homeland Security, the shutdown, which operates FEMA. But he's committed to helping fix the problem. He says these Democrats cause disasters. Both rivers and shutdowns will only get worse. The two governors and the mayor of D.C. must act immediately. So where is it? How many more examples have to be so ridiculously in your face? Right? The poster children of welfare fraud from the American people comes from, very dark-skinned foreigners from Africa who live in scorching hot climates, who move to Minnesota to freeze and fleece you. And if that's not enough, they have very low IQs because they have incest and inbreeding problems, right? And somehow these are the masterminds, the wizards of fleecing, $18, $20 million from the American taxpayer? You're supposed to believe that. Right? Does that make sense to you? And so the people who make you show their ID, your ID, to get into one of their town halls where they can vie for your vote, right? You got to show your ID, show us who you are. Is this you? Yes, it is. Okay, we're going to check that. These are the people who say doing that in elections is discriminatory. Make that make sense. The people who are completely against guns, who want to take away your guns, want to take away your ammo, want to do everything to fiddle with your Second Amendment right. When a transgender whack job takes a gun and goes and mows down a bunch of people and kills a bunch of them, they're crickets. It's, we're not going to talk about that because it doesn't fit our story. And so now you have a climate emergency, and this is the time that all of you people out there, you environmental people, could actually go and be like, what are we doing? Well, we're polluting one of the most important waterways in America, and we're not doing anything, and they're completely quiet. Completely quiet. Isn't this deafening? It's deafening. The hypocrisy. It's Karen Bass saying that they need a leader they can depend on who shows up and gets the job done. Well, if that's the parameter of your job, well, you were false billing from freaking day one. You twit? Right? When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, Did you guys hear about this Stephen Colbert, James Tallarico thing? James Tallarico running for Senate as a Democrat in Texas. And Stephen Colbert puts him on his show, but not really, and then lies about it. Oh, boy. Get the popcorn next. I agree with you, Brock. There are many reasons why it's such an interesting story and so frustrating. How many ways can you lie to me?
Well,
right?
The problem is we've been here telling you what it's like in the media and how you have to deal with politicians. And this asshole comes out and just lies about it.
Stephen Colbert.
Yes, sorry. Just lies about it and says it gives you half truths. Did the FCC step in? Of course they did. But it's
of course
Trump's
they didn't.
What's that?
Of course they did, or they didn't.
Of course they did. They have to. All Jasmine Crockett has to say is, "What about my time?" And the way he paints it too about, I don't want to steal your thunder, but
yeah, don't. Shut your pie hole. Tell me about Dr. Dubiak. Tell me about. All right.
You learn how to eat.
No. I want to talk about this blood work. You go to like a Quest Diagnostics, right, with a very specific prescription.
Go to a blood place, yeah.
And whatever it is, and it's extensive. It's like 4 vials of blood, and you're like, Shazam!
Is there any more left?
Do I have more? And they're like, of course. And they laugh at you, and then they kick you out. Those 4 vials of blood. If you were to do that for real, it would cost you $1,500, $2,000.
You couldn't, because the health insurance companies wouldn't cover it because it helps you.
They wouldn't let it happen. Yeah, because there's no money in you being well, right? So for $99, Dr. Dubiak is going to get you this blood test. What did you learn from yours that I think is the biggest change for you? I think
the biggest thing was he's like, you have low T.
Low testosterone has major problems for men.
For men, I'm assuming just for men, it prohibits you from losing weight. So you're up against it right off the bat.
And you don't know about it.
And you don't know about it.
You don't know about it. So
like you can run, you can lift, you can do
you can eat broccoli.
But if you have low T, it's gonna. So if it drops off, so what happens? You get frustrated, and you're like, "What's the point?" What's the point?
So this is the offer. This is your foot in the door, and you're going to get a binder with pages and pages and pages of information about yourself that is absolutely eye-opening, and you get that for keeps. And then if you want to continue, when you want to do what Brock did. Dr. Dubiak sits down with you and he goes over it and he's like, well, we know the foods that you need to eat and we know the foods you need to stay away from. How serious are you about this? And you're like, I'm finally there.
Yeah.
You had enough.
Everybody gets to that.
You had enough joint pain. You were tossing and turning at night. You had gut issues.
When you're right along the scale, saying 3, it's time. You get to that point where you're just like, everything hurts. It doesn't look good. It doesn't feel good.
What am I going to do?
What am I going to do?
And see, there's accountability. Brock did it because you guys made him.
Yes.
He didn't want to disappoint you. And he didn't want to disappoint Dr. Dubiak. And he didn't want to disappoint me because we're a partnership. Right? And so there really wasn't an option for him to fail.
No.
And I will say, very, very proud of you. And then you could say it's embarrassing to get that, out of shape.
It is embarrassing.
To get that heavy, and for anybody to applaud you is kind of not, it doesn't feel as good as it should.
No, because you're like,
I got fat.
I'm a fatty Boba laddie, and
so I would say
I made all the wrong bad choices till I made the right.
How many months did it take you? 6?
Probably
6
months. I
70
I
pounds.
religiously did exactly what he said. And at the beginning, it's tough because it's a calorie cut. And you're like, how am I going to survive off this? And then you realize,
I really don't need to eat that much.
I don't need to eat that much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you get acclimated to it, and each week there's a new milestone, and you keep building on it. So what's great about this, 412 227-9255, bodybyAIM360.com, is that you have the tools for the rest of your life after you finish the program. It doesn't change. You know you. It's great, you know? I've seen people's lives change. My friend Jen, my twins are really good friends with her son, and they saw her. Did you see Miss Jen? I'm like, yeah. They're like, she looks beautiful.
Ryan
and I
even
told
said
her.
something to me.
Did he?
Yeah. He's like, man, you look fantastic. Then you're like, well, what did I look like before? I guess garbage.
No.
Yeah.
You look like you until you don't look like you anymore. And then you have a new you. And then you're like, I like the new me.
Just know it costs money to replace your wardrobe after doing bodybyam360.com.
Unless you have a colleague who travels to a bunch of places and buys you some clothes.
Oh my, get off the cross.
I
We
wasn't
need
saying
the
that.
wood.
That was true. How was that? I wasn't doing that like you do that. I did. Did I or did I not?
A couple of shirts and a hoodie.
And like I said, I bought a few shirts for you. I don't know why he got so defensive. Always to share several hours a day, sharing common sense conservative values with you. Like, that's not complicated. This next story is not complicated, right? And it's a very simple explanation. When you're in a political season and you want to interview somebody as a radio station or a TV station, CBS, NBC, what have you, if you're interviewing a candidate, you have to provide other candidates against whom that individual's running with the access to have equal time to communicate with the equal amount of people so that it's fair. You can't choose favorites, right? So just because I like Donald Trump doesn't mean that I should have Donald Trump on and not be able to interview Kamala Harris or Joe Biden or whomever the case might be. You've got to make that effort, right? You can't just choose winners and losers. It's a well-established rule. Brock, how long have we known about this? I mean, since long before you and I started doing this,
Right. This is as long 25 years for me, so it's been in place.
This is not controversial. People know this, and Stephen Colbert knows this as well. So I'm going to set the scene for you here. There's a guy who's running for Senate as a Democrat in Texas, and his name is James Tallarico. He's running against a bunch of people. Among them is the noxious Jasmine Crockett, right, who got redistricted out of her House seat, who's going to try to run for the Senate seat. So Stephen Colbert has James Tallarico on his show, his late night show, but he can't have it run on his late night show on CBS, because if he did, CBS would then be required to offer the same amount of time to all the other opponents. And Jasmine Crockett is but one. There are 5 or 6 other Democratic candidates. And then if you do that, then you've got to bring the Republican guy on too. And then all of a sudden, CBS is making up all of this make good time because Stephen Colbert was really desperate to give James Tallarico, for whatever reason, the spotlight and the edge over his opponents. So what did Stephen Colbert do instead? Colbert put it online. Did he put it on YouTube? What did he put it on?
Yeah, he put it on his YouTube.
So he put it on his YouTube page, and then James Tallarico tags it, puts it on his page. And they go online and they say basically that, look, the network, this is what Stephen Colbert said. He lied and he blamed his parent company, CBS, for not wanting to spend the money or whatever to basically have all of the people on and interview them. And so they decided instead we were going to bounce this over to the internet where there aren't the same equal airtime rules. So let's set this up for you a little bit. Hopefully I can do a better job. But this whole controversy coincided with the start of early voting, I should say, in Texas yesterday, for a heated Democratic primary, significantly increasing James Tallarico's name recognition, which we will get to here in just a moment. So here is the moment. Stephen Colbert online does his show, brings out the Senate Democrat candidate, and this is how it goes.
Now, here's the thing. I don't usually say this to a guest, but if people are watching this right now, it's because they found us online on YouTube. I did an act of the show that's on tonight explaining why. It's not the first time you've caused some drama. FCC opening probe into The View after appearance by Tallarico. Do you mean to cause trouble?
I think that Donald Trump is worried that we're about to flip Texas.
Okay, so we just heard a couple things. Not that there's this equal airtime rule, which everybody knows about or should, but that we're either going to blame CBS because it was a financial decision, or we're going to blame the FCC, and we're going to say that FCC is being heavy-handed and they're going after people that Donald Trump doesn't like because Donald Trump is very worried that James Tallarico or somebody else is going to win and they're going to flip it blue, right? They're going to flip a red seat blue. That's what these two clowns are kind of saying. Tallarico not really saying that per se. He's just geeked. He's getting lots of free airtime, right? This is fantastic. I get to sit here and tell you about how great I am and for everybody to hear me. This is clip number 2. And this is where Stephen Colbert lies about why this particular broadcast isn't airing on CBS television.
To fact check you, my network said our cancellation was a purely financial decision.
Got it.
And I
yes.
remain very grateful for the last 11 years.
Haha, which means I'm doing this and I know I'm pissing some people off. Don't fire me. Well, I'm going to read you something. Texas Democrat Senate candidate James Tallarico appeared on Stephen Colbert's YouTube channel last night, with Tallarico uploading the hit to his social media accounts, all while claiming that President Trump's FCC, quote, refused to air my interview because, quote, Trump is worried we're about to flip Texas. The media hit comes just as early voting kicked off in the Texas primaries. Now, of course, the leftist spin apparatus quickly jumped into action, falsely claiming that Trump and FCC Chair Brendan Carr, quote, threatened CBS if they chose to air the segment. There's no proof to that, right? Any more than there's proof that Karen Bass has that Casey Wasserman did anything more than exchanged flirty emails with Ghislaine Maxwell. There's some supposition and innuendo. There's some political points to score here. So these people who are jumping on and reposting this clip on YouTube also completely made up a story about CBS claiming financial reasons to cover for these supposed threats in a post that got tens of thousands of likes and over 1 million views. But in reality, the network themselves decided not to move forward with a segment on their live show and instead just encouraged viewers to watch the interview online as a workaround to the equal time rule that would have required Colbert to allow Jasmine Crockett to have airtime as well. Oh, by the way, it wouldn't just be Jasmine Crockett because it would be, and there's like 5 of them. It's Jasmine Crockett, Colin Allred, Emily Morgul, Michael Swanson, and Terry Virts. All people, all candidates running against James Tallarico to get that nomination to be the Democratic candidate for Senate in Texas. right? So they're like, no, we just pretty much, even slimy Brian Stelter admitted that this was the case. He wrote, this just in from CBS. The Late Show was not prohibited by CBS from broadcasting the interview with Representative James Tallarico. The show was provided legal guidance that the broadcast could trigger the FCC equal time rule for 2 other candidates, including Representative Jasmine Crockett. Now, if they wanted to, they simply could have ignored Crockett's airtime as well, but hilariously, they'd rather move the entire interview off of the main airwave than give Crockett even a few minutes to speak. It was clearly an attempt of electioneering in favor of James Tallarico, the guy routinely accepted as far more electable than Crockett. And it definitely worked. Search trends for Tallarico skyrocketed following the interview and their ruse. And in fact, this is very interesting because we did a little digging. And I'm going to tell you, Google reported online searches for Tallarico surged. He became the 3rd most searched name in the United States for those 24 hours. So the ploy worked. The Google data also shows searches for information on Tallarico were suddenly 6 times greater than those for Jasmine Crockett, who was the more searched candidate until yesterday. So what just happened? This is the same way as the Clintons realizing that the Democrat Party has moved beyond them. When members of the Oversight Committee the Democrats said that they would vote in favor of a contempt of Congress charge if the Clintons didn't come in and testify, the Clintons realized that they're no longer at the top of the heap of the Democratic Party. You are now baggage. Jasmine Crockett has just been told she is persona non grata, that her shtick act from the hood, acting as though she's just, Jenny on the block, right? And not from a wealthy family and received private education through high school and then on into college, right? She just got her notice. She's no longer wanted by the party.
James Tallarico has also posted that this was the single biggest earning day for him at $2.5 million.
That is the power of the media. That is the power of the wrap-up smear. That is the political gamesmanship that I think sucks. Because they're putting somebody out and they're taking somebody down. I am no Jasmine Crockett fan. But if she doesn't have one hell of a lawsuit on her hands, I don't know what's going on. This is why I say Brock and I, as former members, well, he is still a member of media in terms of what he does as a radio producer. Yes, I'm not a television news anchor anymore, but I got to see where we were going. I got to see that objectivity and being fair long ago stopped being even remotely the norm. Any edge, any advantage, any victory, anytime. That is the game, and those are the stakes. CBS actually came out and they fact-checked Stephen Colbert and they ran the video on a clip online and it said, what, false or fake? Not. How does Stephen Colbert still have a job and how much did he get paid? Is anybody worried about that? What about that? These people are such fun late-night hosts of joviality, aren't they? No. They're political operatives, period. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, we got to talk about this educational video. How does something in the 1960s tell you everything about what's wrong today, 60 years later? Worth it and more. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
How's this any different than what they did to Bernie Sanders?
Same thing. You've been big-footed. It's for the greater good. We've chosen. That's how they chose Barack Obama.
So they chose Kamala.
They chose Barack Obama over Hillary Clinton, right? Over everybody else. And she was like, it's my time. Reclaiming my time. Right? It's beyond. It's beyond. And yet these people who, we all have these people in our lives. Like, what do I know factually 100%? Really only the stuff I can control. The stuff that impacts me, that I have any kind of, I don't know, ability to control. Everything else, that's why I say go up to 30,000 feet, right? You can't listen to what everybody's talking about, because if everybody's talking about the same thing, oh my God, it's an insurrection. You know you're getting whitewashed, right? But if you go up higher and you look down and you can see all of the various people doing similar things, different places, but all kind of in concert, it's almost like it's planned, right? Once you see that, you can't unsee that. So factually, I can speak about none of this. I can only tell you how it makes me feel. And usually my feelings are relatively correct, right? You know, when you're around somebody and you just get, like, you get a weird vibe. You get just a feeling of darkness, of sadness. Your stomach gets sour, right? Maybe you get some ringing in your ears or dull headache, and you're like, there's something wrong about you, about your vibe. I gotta get away from you. There's a lot of people hiding a lot of stuff. We, however, are shamefully honest, right? We are. So I want to tell you quickly a little bit about this company that I might be doing something with here. And I hope so, because I love it. And I realized I wanted to be a part of it because I ran out of this product. And I literally ached for it. I was like, oh. And so I sent this guy who I haven't spoken with since August a message.
Has it been that long?
Uh-huh. I said, hey, you were supposed to call me when I got back from vacation on this date, and you never did, but I didn't call you either. But I've been thinking about you. And I told him, I'm like, I really wanted you to know I love your products. And he's like, oh my gosh, I've got new stuff to send you. I'm just saying, how many of you live in climates where your hands take a beating? Your skin in general just takes a beating, whether it's from the sun, from the heat, from the cold or the wind, just absolute beating. This line of products is, I'm very excited about it because I love it. And I think you will too. I think you will too. So we'll have to see if it works and hopefully get something going for Mother's Day. Maybe before that. I also want to find, I wish we had a florist. Wouldn't that be great, Brock?
Yeah.
If we could do flowers, if we could do like a flower of the month club or something like that, like something fun like that, I would love that. Who knows a florist out there who's conservative? Doesn't even have to be.
Yeah. It's just not that easy.
Because like if we could sell 500 or 400 mugs in like 2 days, I'm thinking flowers for a special occasion, flowers every month, the bouquet that I get, my favorite. Protecting democracy line in every chapter and verse. Literally, that was the Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton speech that they gave as headliners for this world whatever event in Berlin, right? Protecting democracy. What that is code for, oh snap. People want to get back to the real ways, the constitutional republic. We can't do that. Well, This is a great video. One of you guys sent it to me this morning, and I stumbled upon it. It's a 1960s educational video. I'm going to presume it's from the John Birch Society. It's got that total vibe. And it needs to be heard loudly today. There are major differences between the mob rule ideas of a democracy and the individual liberty and restricted government power of a constitutional republic. I want you to hear this and then chat about with you for just a second on the flip side. It is that good. 66 years ago.
A democracy is a political system in which the people periodically, by majority vote at the polls, select their rulers. The rulers then have absolute power to make whatever laws they please by majority vote among themselves. In a constitutional republic, the people also, by majority vote at the polls, select rulers who make laws by majority vote among themselves. But the rulers cannot make any laws they please because the Constitution severely restricts their lawmaking power. The ideal of a democracy is universal equality. The ideal of a constitutional republic is individual liberty. In this century, great strides have been made toward the goal of subverting our republic and transforming it into a democracy. The foremost tactic of the subverters is subversion of language. By calling America a democracy until people thoughtlessly accept and use the term, totalitarians have obscured the real meaning of American principles of government. Writers of the Constitution were anxious to safeguard liberty against dictatorship, monarchy they called it. But their chief anxiety was to protect the country against democracy. Edmund Randolph, delegate to the Constitutional Convention from Virginia, said the general object of the convention was to provide a cure for the follies and fury of democracy. Elbridge Gerry and Roger Sherman, delegates from Massachusetts and Connecticut, urged the Constitutional Convention to create a system to eliminate the evils that flow from the excess of democracy. Alexander Hamilton, delegate from New York, said, "We are now forming a Republican government. Real liberty is not found in democracy. If we incline too much to democracy, we shall soon shoot into a monarchy." John Adams, one of the giants of the American Revolutionary period, said, "Democracy will envy all, contend with all, endeavor to pull down all. And when by chance it happens to get the upper hand for a short time, democracy will be revengeful, bloody, and cruel." America was founded not as a democracy, but as a constitutional republic. We pledge allegiance to the republic for which our flag stands, not to a democracy. The Constitution requires a republican form of government for all states, but does not mention democracy, and neither does the Declaration of Independence or the Bill of Rights. Homan asked him what kind of government the convention had given America, and Franklin replied, "A republic, if you can keep it." Very old and very wise, Franklin saw through the mists of time to the day when Americans might trade their freedom in a constitutional republic for the promise of government guaranteed equality and security in a democracy. And beyond that, to the day when democracy inevitably degenerates into dictatorship, guaranteeing nothing but poverty and serfdom for the people it robs and rules.
That was intense. To the day when democracy inevitably degenerates into dictatorship, guaranteeing nothing but poverty and serfdom for the people it robs and rules. The future of democracy, in fact, was the title of Hillary Clinton's speech before the World Forum 2026, where she delivered the opening keynote speech in Berlin, near the Brandenburg Gate, right? Talking about the future of democracy. No, we want to talk about the future of a great constitutional republic, where it is we, the people, us, against them. They who are supposed to represent us. They who have failed. They who have failed pitifully for generations. At what point does us versus them swing in our favor? Because the way I'm looking at it, it's a numbers game. It's just enough people to convince that this is the hill to die on. So Senator Lee and John Thune, Senator Thune, if you are paying attention, because I know you do, we the people demand that you get off your ass and pass the SAVE Act. And if that means filibustering for 4 months, so be it, because you have 82 weekdays off between now and the primaries, or the midterm elections, rather. That's a lot of time to actually show up and do your job. Thanks for being a part of the Wendy Bell radio program. Hope to see you again tomorrow. Let's do it again, shall we? 21 hours. Love you all. Peace.